an optimistic outlook, but completely unrealistic considering what he's done to the Golden State in regards to spending and the potential fraud, waste, and abuse that's happened out west. But we have a Mr. Spencer Pratt who is looking to solve the problems in Los Angeles. We know it's roughly 1 year and a few days from those Pacific Palisade fires that took place. Do you think he has a chance to, I guess, use his entertainment background, his business wherewithal to really take
I don't
on
know,
the
Ivan.
executive role
I haven't
in
looked
Los
much into
Angeles?
this meeting. I just saw that the market was
Well,
created.
on one hand, we're talking about Los Angeles, and
Trying to
it
get more
doesn't
info.
matter if you're part of that Hollywood clique. We've seen how members, even in the media,
It's
people
marked as
who were
out-of-town
loved
press
by
pool.
Hollywood back then. President Trump was loved by
Out-of-town
all those
press
members
pool
of
is usually
Hollywood.
open.
And right
Is there
when
any
he came
reason
out
people are saying
as a
closed for this one
Republican, as someone who's
specifically?
actually going to fix the country, they immediately turned on him.
Dude,
They
I'm
vilified
not gonna
him.
go look
Looks
for
likely
Mamdani.
what they'll do to this
Oh my
guy.
God.
Same with the mainstream media, even though this election isn't even about the difference of parties. I mean, he's a registered Republican, but this is basically just about restoring Los Angeles back
What up,
to
Jack?
common sense policies. And frankly, they've hit rock bottom. You can't go any lower. I don't want to.
Yo, what's up, Marheb? No Somalia.
This week,
With this news cycle?
I don't think that there is a
Man.
bottom of the barrel. I think it just keeps getting lower and lower in these leftist.
I'm trying to get
states.
more
But with that
details on
being
this.
said,
I'm gonna be
we
honest.
went
I
from
haven't had a
just 1
chance to
year
like
ago, you had these
really.
big
This was
iconic
last
chicks.
minute.
Ooh, we were supposed to celebrate them because they were like the first lesbian.
It's gonna be in the
fire chiefs,
Oval, is what roll
basically
call is saying.
telling everyone
Oh
that
no,
they
this
have
is an
to go
East Room.
fend for
East Room.
themselves. Oh, sorry.
What
all
up,
men
Mr.
who
Nick? What's
get
up,
caught in a
Bitbop?
fire. You were told that
What time does the
it's your
speech
fault that
start?
you
It
got
was supposed to
yourself there in the
start
first
3
place,
minutes ago.
and the people who are supposed to
I think
save
White
you
House stream
were
isn't up yet, so
lecturing you through
few
a
minutes
camera
behind.
that, well, just tough it
You'll
up.
send me some
So
alpha?
You really can't get
Send it
much
to me on
worse,
disc.
and we'll see what this candidate, what
Or I guess you can
policies
send it to me
he
on.
proposes.
My
But
Twitter is
frankly,
just kinda
that
crazy
city
right
is
now, if you
so
can
far
imagine.
left.
With, like, trying to
turned
read
so
messages.
Marxist. I have as much hope for Los Angeles right now as I have for New York.
Yeah, it's a frustrating time to see some of our big cities.
Let's see.
succumb to
CNBC
this
did a
leftist
piece on
Marxist
this.
ideology. Justine also.
What
a
up,
big
EA? So this is gonna
story
center
of
around like
Venezuela, and
investments in
one big
Venezuela
blow,
after this whole
really
Maduro
the
capture.
beginning of the operation to apprehend Nicolas
It's gonna be
Maduro, who's
CEO
now
of all
in
the oil
same
companies:
prison
Exxon,
as Luigi
Shell,
Mangione, if you can
Chevron,
believe it. It's kinda wild to
ConocoPhillips.
think about, in regards to both of those high-profile cases. What do you see as the effects of what's happening today? President Trump meeting with these oil executives. The United States looks like it will be able to go into Venezuela, even with the remnants of the Maduro regime still in place. They are now allegedly releasing out those journalists, the opposition party members, to come back into society, perhaps because of United States pressure. But this has 5 prongs to it that's rather fascinating. But the fact that Venezuela, although you have the crude oil, very slow and difficult to get out of the ground, worth roughly $303 billion across all of the 30 to 50 million barrels or so that could be produced, could bring 17 million
He'll def say
trillion
pipeline?
dollars into the United States. What do you see
Is there
as a
anything
result
interesting
of
in, like,
what
the
might happen
weeklies?
with the meeting with these oil executives?
This is a win on so many different levels. I also think it's funny that all the left's
All
heroes
depends
are
on
now in
Q&A.
one
Send the press
cell.
out
We're probably
early,
going to
please.
see those girls
Maduro
marching
is a
out with,
lock?
T-shirts that say "Hot girls for Maduro."
Interesting.
Yeah. But of course, the legacy media is going to focus on the angle of getting oil.
What's up, Lars
They're gonna
Barth?
focus on that and put
got
it in a
January.
bad light, when I think it's actually great for us. Great for Venezuela. Previously, China and Russia, they were using
Greenland's an easy
Venezuela
pickup.
as a
It has
playground.
oil reserves.
They were completely. They were.
Wow, Greenland is
brutalizing
kinda-
that place.
is
They
kinda
were using
cheap.
it to their own benefit, taking oil from there.
At like the
I would
low
love
40s.
that.
I mean, if there's
It's totally
Q&A, how
cool
could he
because
not get a
they're all
Greenland
bunch of
question?
Stalinists and Maoists, just like they are.
So,
but it's only a problem. When
yeah,
we
Greenland
come
probably
in
is
and we
undervalued.
free Venezuelans. Most Venezuelans right now, most normal Venezuelan, they're cheering on the
He did
capture
say it
of
would be
Maduro.
entirely
They're
about
couldn't be
Venezuela's
happier.
situation.
You've probably seen those videos
I
of them
mean,
crying for joy.
he says a lot of
And then
things.
you have these white liberals. You have these types on the View.
To be
who are
honest,
lecturing
Maduro at
Venezuelans that,
73
you
is
guys should
like
just, stayed.
I
You
I
guys
would pick
should
up
just
nose
let
on
Maduro
Maduro if
just
this was
control
closer to
for
maybe
the rest of
90.
eternity. You had Sunny hosting,
But 73
saying
seems
that
pretty close to
President
fair.
Trump and our administration up here, oh well, we're all a bunch of
I mean,
pirates
I would
apparently.
lean again towards
Because
taking nose on
we actually
Maduro,
freed
but
Venezuela.
73 is
You
just
had
not high
Joy
enough.
Behar
I thought
lectured
people would be much
Venezuela
higher
and said
given
they
what
should
this is
feel
going to
bad
center
because,
around.
quote
But it seems
unquote,
like everybody now
enact
already like
brutal
prices in
dictator.
the idea
And
that, you
I
know,
believe one
he doesn't love
additional
to say
reason
Maduro
why the
necessarily.
media is really focusing in and making Renee Good out to be smarter this week is because they are trying to change the media wave and use this now as a distraction to get people
God,
to
this is the
forget
dumbest
that
shit,
President
dude.
Trump
Reading
just
this
freed
shit
an
on my
entire
tweet
country
just
from a
drives me
dictator.
insane.
But these are the same people preaching no kings who are suddenly preaching free Maduro.
So
They're preaching on
stupid.
behalf of a king. And I love how this
Yeah.
week they're complaining
Wait,
about
Lars,
how
did I respond? And I said I was
peaceful
probably going to go no,
protesters
right?
are, being
Or I said, like,
arrested
there's a
for,
chance
you
because
know,
of the whole
blocking
proper
the
noun
roads
thing.
on behalf of Maduro and because they hate ICE. When Maduro actually shot his protesters.
I'm
protesters to death,
surprised
actually
that
ran them over
Trump
with
is
drugs.
only
So just to see,
44. Doesn't
the
that seem
funny,
kind of cheap?
the hypocrisy of it all.
The irony, Justine Brooke Murray, it amazes me on a daily basis, all on the backs of a new Mayor Mamdani, who's a communist,
Like, what's
a
the
legal
rationale?
Islamist, far-left social activist, while these other ones are in prison in his own city. Please join us again very soon. Again, Justine Brooke Murray from the Media Research Center doing a great job in Washington, D.C.
Huh. Yeah,
Always
maybe
good to see
40's
you.
fair. I don't know. Seems
And as we
pretty
cover the
likely.
Trump White House, the latest there, President
Biden
Trump
only
these oil
in the
executives
70s, low 70s?
moments away. We'll be taking you there to that live.
I
as we
might
thank All Family
just-
Pharmacy, one of our finest sponsors here on the right
Is
side
White House
of
live yet? No.
history. If you
White
want
House
to stock
stream
up
still
on
not up. I might
family
just try to
items,
play this
including
live.
antibiotics and
Because there's so many
maintenance
speakers, I think there's a good
medications
chance
can
that
preserve
Trump's
and
going to give an
protect you
opening
from
remark. Maybe it will be
ailments
somewhat
out there,
short,
especially
and then he's
during
going to toss it
COVID
over to
flu
like 20
and
different
even a
people to
slight
speak.
COVID
And if
season
that drags on,
update.
usually you can get some cheaper yes
allfamilypharmacy.com
shares if there's a
/
Q&A.
RSBN is your
The
best
fourth
option
message? Let me
as
check what
we
fourth
look
said.
towards that 10%
Yeah, I got to be
off
checking
for you
fourth
with
if there's
code
any debate on this being
RSBN10.
closed.
Scan the QR code there and go through those great options because they don't need the insurance in order to access these off-label generic life-saving medications like some pharmacies would require.
I
No
just
red
saw
tape,
that,
no red,
Mr. Nick.
bureaucracy,
But is that
nothing
saying
that would hold you back from obtaining
just-
these. All you have to do is order right there on allfamilypharmacy.com.
Is that just saying that like any videos or photos they take while getting set up?
US of A
Does anyone know how to?
all of
Let me
that
Google what
and
that
send
all
it
means.
directly to your door. Again, it's ivermectin, antibiotics.
Yeah, that's my
antivirals,
thought too,
and
Mr. Nick.
things
So
like
I
hydrochloroquine,
think it's gonna
NAD
be.
plus methylene blue, maintenance medications, over 300 in fact, including
I think it's like them
emergency
getting
medical
set
kits
up.
that you can
They can't
travel
take
on the
photos or
road with
release them.
in case you have an early January celebration. But again, especially that Tamiflu, important this time of year as flu cases are on the rise. Support the pharmacy that supports your medical freedom and the right to try and most favored nation status by visiting allfamilypharmacy.com /RSBN. RSBN10 is the code for 10% off.
How can you join my
QR
Discord?
code
I have a
there for
Discord in
that.
my
Also,
Twitter, but to be honest, it's not that active of a
a great
Discord.
sponsor here on
If I were
the
to join
Right
any
Side of
Discord,
History.
I would join the
Use the original
Kalshi
Miracle
Discord, the
Cream.
official
It's
one. You
vitamin
can
B
find that on
infused. I use
Kalshi's
this
page.
every day. And they are
And the
Christian-owned
mention
Bear veterans.
market
They're out of Spring,
spot
Texas,
in
off the
there is
Gulf
really
of
fun.
America. A great place to
I'm not
live.
really that active
Also,
in my
their
Discord.
orange option, very, very helpful
I
this
try to
time
be, but
of year, as it's
I'm very
natural
busy.
vitamin C, again, non-GMO, no chemicals, that you can bring right into your system to stay ahead of the curve with cold and flu season. They have a natural facial spray, great to paint the town red on this Friday evening, and thank God it is Friday in the United States, January 9th, unlike any other.
Hegseth
Make sure
strike
to
just
order
dropped.
from angelpaste.com.
Where are you seeing these strikes? Are these in the
For
weekly?
Any of you celebrating Orthodox Christmas as well, a nice late stocking stuffer for family and friends. Experience the miracle of angelpaste.com. Also, Kalshi.com /RSBN. In case you watched last night, what a barn burner for lead
do I just need to be
changes
refreshing it?
between Miami
And they're all
Ole
getting
Miss
added in?
a 31-27 warrior battle that
Oh,
took
yeah, Marco
place
Rubio got added.
at the Fiesta Bowl all the way out
Got
in
it.
Glendale, Arizona. Who will win? There's 3 left. This college football championship. Well, Ohio State's out of it. Georgia's out of it. But will those Indiana
That's so
Hoosiers,
funny. They're showing the
their
market
Cinderella
for
story season, the Rose Bowl champions,
FBS and Ohio
taking
State's
on
number
Oregon
1.
tonight. The Oregon Ducks, will they, in a Big Ten competition, be able to get around them and make it to the
It was
Big
supposed to
Dance on
start 10
January
minutes ago.
19th? Make sure you put your bets and trades at kalshi.com/RSBN. And for all of the questions from music, sports, culture, politics, and much, much more,
And mention
visit
markets. Come on.
kalshi.com
Add those mention markets.
RSBN. Thank you for sponsoring us on the right side of history, as we hope you enjoy tonight the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl from Atlanta, Georgia, the Mercedes-Benz Stadium. It is Indiana and Oregon to secure the final spot in national
Posted a tweet about them
championship
losing.
status for our college football.
I posted a
For
tweet
that,
about me
as
holding my
President Trump
shares.
will be holding that meeting with oil and gas executives from the White House. We'll take you there when that
That was
does
such a crazy game, dude.
happen.
I had like
In the meantime,
$10,000 in
commercial break
EV,
for
not just on my
sponsors. You're on the
futures.
right
I was
side
doing a
of
lot of
history.
live
Don't
trades
change
and
that
like just
dial.
finding
You're watching
when the
the
prices
right
were
side
pretty
of
inefficient.
broadcasting.
I had like 10K in EV, dude. I can't. Oh, I got so unlucky with that game last
Welcome
night,
to
but whatever.
Right Side Broadcasting Network. Your trusted conservative-
Is what it is. We came very close. I'm just happy I was sizing up pretty big on that game, so ended up losing like 3K yesterday. We'll make it back. My goal now that I hit 100K and stuff and I'm not like tracking meticulously every week is to just like ramp up, dude. Size up. Main goal for 2026. Like this weekend with all the games going on, it's going to be really nice. So many markets. I'm spending less and less time on mentioned markets. I should keep spending time on mentioned markets. Thank you, John Jacket. It was a fun challenge. Yeah, I definitely want to increase volume. Yeah, I'll definitely bond more in the future potentially. I was bonding a lot like the last 2-3 weeks, but I haven't been much. Yeah, for that, Cal, I promise you, I'm faster. You gotta put time into learning the, there's people that are faster than me, but I'm one of the faster people. It's just stuff you gotta do. But yeah, Mamdani markets are hitting. I need to get more into Mamdani. Right now, I'm trying to focus a lot into live trading and finding edges there, which is gonna come with like a lot of variance, but like with live trading, that's like where I can get some like pretty crazy like 10K, 20K returns in like a day if things go my way. So obviously gonna be careful. I'm not gonna be like picking teams, but just trying to find like temporary inefficiencies in the markets. So that's been a lot of fun. And the good thing there is it's like obviously a lot more volume and liquidity, so if I can find consistent edges, could be good. Yeah, this is supposed to be live short. Supposed to be live 15 minutes ago, but obviously they're a little delayed like most Trump speeches. Would I do what live? How good are sports announcer markets in your opinion? They're pretty great. They're still really inefficient. They got to lower the fees. Yeah, the fees are kind of a pain in the ass, I'm not going to lie. But you just got to work around it. Like if the fees were higher, I'd take her a lot more when the lines are like off by like, you know, a few percent, but like you have to be a lot more careful because of the taker fees. Doesn't make as much sense sometimes, and then you have to arb it off with like a limit order. Someone was talking about a bot. Let me find it. You think coding a bot would work? I'm a comp sci major. Collect real-time stats like real and make trades with that info. Yeah, I mean, all the top market makers, I'm sure, are automating it with like a bot. So you'll be competing against them, but yeah, it can definitely work. It's just like you got to have like a really good setup. And then like the real-time data feeds are very expensive if you're trying to get actually very fast data feeds. And if you're not using the fastest ones that are very expensive, then you're just going to be behind. But yeah, you could try some like, if I were you, I would focus on like a niche and just find like less liquid markets and try to use a bot to be like a market maker. It doesn't even have to be sports. It could just be like culture. Just try to build a market making bot, spend some time there. It's really fun. It's always super fun being like risk neutral. And then the best part too, it's also very dangerous. Yes, it is. I mean, because you're going to have people like me that are like constantly trying to see when the market maker kind of fucks up for a second, you know? So you will be subject to adverse selection. If your bot is wrong for like a few seconds, you're going to get smacked.
And you might have noticed those Missouri plates. There is an alleged situation where she could have been.
But like long term,
paid
I would
advocate
love
for the
to
situation. We'll watch
do
as the
market
stories
making. You know what I
unfold
mean?
with all of
Like if
that
you have like
as,
a big,
again, not
a lot of
following the law
capital.
there, as many of you
Like
will
I love
find
risk
to change
neutral
those plates,
strategies.
you move to
Ideally,
another state.
obviously you're
You
not
have
always
30
gonna be
days.
risk neutral when
And of
market
course,
making,
that
but like
may be
it's
different pending
somewhat the goal.
State law. We are very pleasured.
I
to
love
have
like arbing.
Mr.
I love all that
Dr.
kind of stuff.
Ron Eifelbein with us to talk on a number of
I don't
different
love
issues, but a
having,
story
like,
dating
directional
back a few
exposure
years.
to
So
stuff,
Secretary
you know?
Bessent looking over the potential fraud claims in Minnesota from the COVID years. The good doctor here has
Ever looked into
quite the
liquidity
story
incentives?
for you,
I've looked
as
into them. I
he was
haven't really
federally
like traded them much,
indicted
but
for healthcare
yeah, I mean,
fraud.
it's going to be
He said he
competitive
was
whenever there's
doing
liquidity
his
incentives. So
job
realize that because
and
other people are fighting for it. But
prescribing monoclonal
yeah, I mean, those are
antibodies
great
when
markets
they
to try to
came
market make,
onto
no
the
doubt.
market. You might remember this story. Doctor, so good to see you. Thank you for joining us on the right side of history.
Thank you for having me.
What do I mean by
Pleasure.
market making for
You know,
cultural
It
markets?
brings up some PTSD for me because it was a time during my career where I
exactly
had
what I,
lost a
you know,
position
just like
because of a
profiting off
mandate,
spreads and
and
the
I had the
bids and
fortunate,
asks.
opportunity to
Am I
work for a
still
mayor who wanted
arbing
to get those
across sites
monoclonal
as short?
antibodies
I'm
out
not
there
currently, so I
into,
stopped doing it when I
the
did the
community.
challenge,
This is
right?
up in
Because
Anchorage,
like,
Alaska,
how else
and I
would
had the
people be able to
opportunity do the
track
communication
my
side from the
P&L,
health
right? If I'm like
department
distorting it,
and
because
learn
if you
about
arb on
these
two
life-saving
different platforms,
treatments.
right?
We
One of
dive
them is going to
into,
have crazy
not
profits, the
only
other one's going to
case
have tons of
that took place
losses.
just a few years ago
But now that I
in
hit it, and I'm
Maryland,
not going to be like
but
probably
also what
documenting
you
my
feel
stuff
might
as
be the
much,
best moving
I'll probably
forward
start doing it
in
again,
regards
to
to
be
not
honest.
only
I haven't yet
treatment,
though.
but
But
securing freedom
I'm a
of
little
speech
worried from
for
a tax
people
perspective
like
too.
you
Kind of
and
worries
those
me.
who are simply
Because
trying to
like
get the truth out there.
with Kalshi, I can clearly
Yeah,
just
so,
file everything as the
just a little bit of
section
background on
12,
myself. I'm an emergency
was it
room
1256,
physician.
1246
As I
or
said-
whatever
as you said, I live in
gains, and
Maryland.
then it's like
I
very
owned-
beneficial from
I
a
owned an urgent care
tax
center,
treatment. I don't
and
know if I
we
could do
very
that with
quickly,
Poly,
became
you
sort
know?
of the de facto testing
So
site for
that
the-
would kind of worry
the
me,
county
especially if
in
I'm
the
arbing,
area.
right? Because
And
what if I
then
couldn't
became a very
write off the
early adopter
losses
of
against,
monoclonal antibodies,
you know, one of the
to
platforms?
the point where
So
actually we became the largest supplier in the state of Maryland, bigger than Johns
that's what I'm trying to
Hopkins,
like
bigger than
read
the
into
University
more.
of Maryland.
I don't want to screw
And,
myself from a tax
I was a huge
perspective.
proponent. I was on CBS News, Breitbart, Fox News, NBC, ABC, Newsmax, you know, every week at least, talking about how wonderful these things were. And how
Any
life-saving
more I
they
can
really
glean
were.
from this.
And, you know, this was sort of in direct opposition to the Biden administration's point of, you know, vaccinate everybody, regardless, just everybody just needs a vaccine.
It is
Because
still
this
on the wait
represents
list.
a
The
cure
U.S.
for
version,
COVID. So
I don't know. I
really,
hope they
you know,
they fix it.
spoke
I've like
against
looked at
that.
it. You can't even do limit
That
orders.
mantra, if you will. And
So it
then
seems like,
in
I don't know who
December
the market maker is. It's
2021,
just
the
someone
Biden
there, but like,
administration
obviously I'm not going to
decided
use a
that they were
platform if I can
going to
only
halt
market
the
by. That'd be
monoclonal antibody
terrible.
program,
So I really hope they fix
based
that
on very
on the US
faulty,
platform.
spurious data. And
Because like
I
if you
went on
can't be
Newsmax, I went
put
on
limit
Fox
orders,
News, I
like
called them out,
what?
and I said some things I probably shouldn't have said, but I said, you know, they don't know what they're doing.
I don't know.
They're misreading the data, and they're going to.
And then it's like just an
And
app,
lo and
so I can't
behold,
even do
2
it on
weeks
my
later,
computer. Like I'm
to
not
their
going to
credit,
trade on an
actually, they
app
came back and
only.
said, well, actually, we misread the data. We were wrong by a factor of 50%.
Yeah, I don't know.
They were looking at prevalence of Omicron variant, and they said it was 70% prevalent when it was actually only 20% prevalent. And that's important because the monoclonal antibodies at the time didn't work against Omicron. But my point was, you shut the whole program down nationwide for no reason, based on misreading of data and bureaucratic arrogance. 4 months later, out of the blue, with no warning, no phone call, no email, no letters, nothing, I am the victim of a federal indictment for healthcare fraud on patients I had never seen, on patients' charts that the government had never requested, based on the indictment read that we were doing things that weren't even. They allege that we weren't spending enough time with patients, for example. Time is not a factor in determining the level of coding and billing. The only way for the government to know what the level of coding and billing was to look in the charts, which they hadn't even.
Yeah, I mean,
So
I don't
there's
I don't
no
have
way to
anything
even
live.
look
I didn't
into
really
the
have a lot of
charts.
time to like think
So
about
the whole
this.
thing was very
Still trying to
curious,
get
and I
information.
spent years of my
Like
life
I don't have
fighting
anything
this and still
pre-market.
fighting
Yeah,
it,
this market
and,
literally
it
dropped 30
completely
minutes
destroyed
ago,
my life, and my family's
which
life.
means there's probably still
I
a
went
lot
to
of things that
trial
are
because I didn't do
mispriced.
anything wrong, and the whole thing was so ridiculous. I don't know how, but the jury found me guilty. But the chief judge of
Still
the
trying to
state of
see.
Maryland, who sat through the entire trial, wrote a 93-page opinion, throwing the whole case out and destroying the government's case and saying you should never have brought this case. I can list you a whole bunch of quotes that he used to that very legally, but were very critical of the government's case.
I thought I saw
He
there's
acquitted me, and he
energy,
granted
right?
me a new trial in the case should the government
Energy
appeal.
already moved up. Wasn't
Well,
this at like
2 weeks before
70 a
Trump
second
got
ago?
inaugurated, the government, the Biden DOJ,
Damn.
appealed, and I'm now facing the prospect of a new trial. So this is still an ongoing nightmare for me.
If there's no risk of
and
this
it's
going
just
close
been
press, I'll take her a ton
crazy,
of energy.
and
Oh,
you
White House
never
is live?
think this kind of thing can happen to you.
Nice.
I'm a law-abiding citizen. I didn't do anything wrong. I was doing my job. I was saving people's lives, and this is the thanks that you get, is to get destroyed by
Maybe
your
I'll do
government. It's crazy.
250 in case something
Yes,
happens
it's really
to where
an amazing story that coming across it, and we're sorry for everything you have gone through.
don't really view a
but
world where they're
thankful
not going to
that,
say
a
energy.
judge seemed to have come to
Oh shoot, this is super
correct
delayed. Let me
senses to make
pull up a
sure
different
that,
stream. One
you
sec.
could be a free man. Now, where does this all stand? Are you able to still practice?
Yes. So I never lost my license. I am still practicing. I'm actually
Hold up.
the medical director, ironically, now for a company. I really like my job. It's wonderful. We provide medical care for the prisons and jails in the state of Maryland. So I'm the medical director for that company in the state. It's awesome. It's very rewarding, and this is a part of society that sort of gets forgotten about.
Let me just get a new stream.
It's
One
very
sec.
rewarding to me to be able to provide them with quality medical care. So I am still practicing. Thank you for asking. Yeah, that part's been fine. It's interesting, so the government came after me the same
All right.
time that was happening.
Pop
I
this
got
out.
the governor of the state of Maryland, Larry Hogan, the former governor, issued me a personal citation for all the work that I did during COVID. Came to me personally and handed me the citation. The state legislature
think I
gave me a
can
citation
just-
for my work during COVID,
Boom.
and the state medical society named me person
Boom.
of the year.
All right, we got the new
and then the
stream
feds
up.
indicted me. Like, it just
Let me
makes no
fix
sense.
this.
It's insanity. The whole thing is
Perfect.
just so crazy.
Wow, it's
Close out of
extraordinary
the White House
story,
one.
and,
Don't
we
really
want
need
to
RSBN.
stay
Move
on
this over
this,
here.
as it continues to go on. But Dr. Elfenbein, can you tell us what's the best thing moving forward in
What
two
are they
different
saying on
ways? So how
RSBN?
can
Let's
we
see.
combat cold and flu and COVID moving forward in the right way? Because you are an expert in this, but also how can we again trust?
Can I go through the mentions, give
what
my
we were
takes?
taught
See,
to,
this has already moved up to
believe
86.
in as we grew up in
Yeah, I mean,
America, whether it
energy,
be
I don't
medical
see a world they don't
institutions,
say
to
it.
government, to private entities. I feel like right now, right, left, and center, a lot of people
Obviously, Marco
simply
Rubio,
don't
they're probably
trust,
going to say.
large institutions to give that correct information because, like in
ICE
your
National
case, or
Guard.
like in many others,
It's a little more
you
Q&A
might
dependent.
lose your career, you might lose family, you might lose friends to
I think he'll probably
insane
say
mandates
it.
or
Surprise
even
is actually at
legal
like 60, to
entities,
be honest.
based on political, religious,
Um,
or philosophical, or even evidentiary differences.
Yeah, that's a great question. I think I'll take the second one.
In the
first.
time it
It's
took you to
the
make
second
100K,
part.
how much do you
So,
think you could have made on Kalshi if you were still doing another job?
The left has really done a great
Honestly,
job of just sort of
as I've gotten
undermining all
better,
institutions
I
in our
feel like
country
there
in
are
the last-
opportunities
certainly in the
that
last 20 years. It's been
if
ramping
I were
up
still
in
working like a
terms of
full
speed
full-time
in the
job,
last 5 years, for sure.
I could still make good
so
money,
yes,
but
in
I would
terms
just
of
be
medicine,
super busy.
in my mind,
But it's
medical
like now that I
profession
do
is such a
sports a
noble
lot, most
endeavor
sports
to try
games
to
are
help
outside
people,
of
to try
work
to cure
hours.
people, to try to treat
So
them. And it's just been completely undermined by nefarious actors. And I think it's been done to some extent on purpose. And I think we really need to get people like RFK, like Donald Trump, thank God won the election, into office who can instill some of that science back into the profession of medicine and bring people back to say, yes, you can trust these institutions, and yes,
it is
these are
pretty
people
low.
who have your best interest at heart. But I do think one of the things that we're lacking as a society, and this
I guess
kind of
people are
speaks
just
to the
saying
broader
because it's
point, is
like
that,
gonna.
We've lost.
I mean,
our
Trump
ability
could
to
easily
critically
say
think for
Democrat
ourselves.
is just
And
part
that's,
of.
I think part of goes back to the education system, and you're not really taught to think anymore. You're
How
taught
did
to
he
just
refer to
regurgitate
Venezuela with
information
hottest
and to
before? I
accept
might have
what they
missed it.
tell you. And as an adult person,
Did he say
part of what
Venezuela
you should
used to
be
be the
doing is
hottest
questioning
country?
everything. There's nothing wrong
Referring
with
to, like,
saying,
the
well, my
80s?
doctor told me to take this medicine. Why do they want me to take this medicine? Let me do a little bit of research. Let me look into this myself. That's what people should be doing, and they should be saying,
How much better is
the
it to
6
trade on
foot
Kalshi
mandate,
compared to,
where
let's
does
say,
this come
putting it
from? I mean, none of that made
on
any
bet on
sense, right?
FanDuel or DraftKings?
But people just sort of assume that, well, these experts are telling me that's what I should be
I
doing.
mean,
So I should be
the
doing
main
this.
thing
And now we find out
is
that
they're
they just
they're
sort of
two
made it
different
up
kind
on
of
cloth.
platforms, right? FanDuel, DraftKings.
I'll give you another example.
You're betting against a
concept
house.
of
There's
everybody
no
needed to be
house on
vaccinated,
Kalshi.
and we needed to sort of ostracize people who chose not to get vaccinated.
If you just compare,
Look,
like, I
there was
assume if you're
definitely a place for a
FanDuel,
vaccine,
DraftKings, you just like sports,
but
right?
vaccinating everybody
So,
never made any sense. Like just a
the main thing is,
universal
like,
mandate.
if you do it on
And then to
Kalshi, you'll
say,
get a cheaper
if the
price in
vaccine
most
is so
instances.
protective and I don't have
If
to
you
worry
pay,
if I
if
get
you market
vaccinated,
buy on
or if
Kalshi,
the
you'll
person
still pay
standing next to me
fees.
didn't get
Market
vaccinated,
buying is what
why
you'd be
would I
used to
care?
because you're used
It's
to,
not
like,
gonna impact
FanDuel or
me at all,
DraftKings. The
because
best
that's
thing
the-
you can do
So the
is
logic
if you
behind that
want
never
a
made any
team,
sense to
put
me.
a limit
But
order
people never sat to
on
think and
Kalshi, and you'll
question
get
that.
in
I mean,
at, like, a
some people
significantly
did, but the
better
majority
price
of
than a
people
book
just sort of
because
went
you won't
along.
pay fees.
And we
Or
find
you'll pay
ourselves
like
in this position now
like
where, as you said, the
immaterial maker
institutions are
fees, which are
crumbling
like
and
tiny
people
for sports
aren't
games.
trusting
So the
anymore.
main
And I think
benefit
we
of like
really need
Kalshi
to
is you're
get back to that
gonna
point
get
where
in at a
people
better
can trust
price
it. The
on the
CDC
majority of
says
things,
something.
especially
These
if
are
you
your
place a
experts.
limit
These are
order
the
instead of
people who know
market
best.
buying. And then number two, you
Unfortunately,
can't get limited. That's not
you
really a
look at
problem for most
government,
people because
and I
obviously
certainly
most
don't
people
mean to
aren't going to
paint
ever
with a
be
broad brush, but I
profitable
think,
in the long run
unfortunately, we
on
kinda
like
have to
sports
sometimes.
books. But say
Most
you are someone
people
that's
in
actually
positions
profitable on
like
sports
that are
books,
not necessarily
you
the
won't
world's
get limited
experts.
on Kalshi.
And people who are academics don't necessarily know what the hell they're
Like,
talking about just because you have a PhD or an MD or
they even think that watching
or
a speech or
whatever,
a game
some
on the
higher-
over is better at placing a
higher
trade
degree
quick
doesn't
before it hits
make
the
you,
market.
quote, unquote, an
Satellite
expert,
is
in
usually
anything
better.
other than,
So if you have satellite, it can be
an
better.
academic field. So that doesn't translate always into common sense and into sort of everyday life.
Dr. Ron Elfenbein, thank you so much for sharing your story, and please come back and see us on the right side of history, because I hear a lot of common sense coming from your lips to our ears, and we're grateful to have your perspective on Right Side Broadcasting Network and the right side of history.
Thank you so much. Have a great day and have a good weekend. Happy New Year.
A very happy
Let's
New
see
Year
what
to you
the
as well,
mentions
as
disc
we're
is talking
gearing up
about.
a couple minutes away from seeing President Trump at the White House to meet with oil executives. Thank you very much for our sponsors. I want to take a moment to talk about Monetary Gold, a great way to make sure your assets, wealth, and securities all preserved.
Oh,
and
AP is
ready
covering this
to
too.
Protect you against inflation, or when it comes to
To me,
buying
that's
that
like
next property.
you'd expect
Or even
Q&A.
creating generational wealth for your family. 888-617-7994. It's rsbnforthegold.com. They have over 26 years.
Let me stay
of
up to date on
A+
fourth
Better
updates.
Business Bureau rated experience. You know my friend Scott Cheney out in Los Angeles, California. Give that call today. He or one of his associates will pick up that phone and walk you through many of these great options. Ask how you can eliminate your annual IRA fees permanently for life. Clarity,
AP
honesty,
is
and
live?
respect. That's
I
what
thought
they
somebody said they went live, then they
become
pulled
known
it
for
down.
At Monetary Gold, they
Let
don't
me
push
see.
gimmicks or overpriced special edition coins. They focus on real bullion tied to real market value in gold and silver. So again, rsbnforthegold.com, a great place to visit. Another great spot,
Oh, wow, they're actually,
mypillow.com
like, showing the scene.
/RSBN. For their Christmas sale, it's still on. Save up to 80% this holiday season with the CEO, Mike Lindell, and Republican gubernatorial candidate in Minnesota. Support Mike Lindell and
I'm going to close out of RSBN. This is AP stream. That's Doug Burgum, right? You can just tell from his hair. It's going to be a huge table. There's a lot of people here. So this could be very long, in which case, like, if yeses get very cheap, could be a good pickup. Tim Walz is actually pretty cheap. 29. Jeez. It's pretty funny. They're just like recording two random people talking. You have no on Maduro? Not terrible, to be honest. I don't hate it. Right now, just Kalshi, Dimitri. Because I'm in the U.S. No way he doesn't mention Maduro. He likes to brag about things he accomplishes to everyone. Yeah, but, like, he can say... Oh, JD's there, too, yeah. And Rubio. I'll turn this up a little bit. Man, I'm going to be surprised if they... like, don't talk about Tim Walz or stuff. I mean, the only thing is, obviously, there's so many people that could cut into the speech time, right? They look like they're having a good time. They look like they like each other, the admin. Burgum, Rubio, Vance. What are they looking at?
ExxonMobil Chief of Staff Susan Wild and Energy Secretary Chris Wright.
I can hear someone whispering. Kids waiting for daddy, yeah. I mean, I think Rubio's obviously very, like, I don't know how it isn't free, but it's jumping up already. People already know he's there. Wait, is someone saying they... Tucker Carlson is there? No way. Someone saw a snippet of Tucker Carlson. Dude, what does this mean? Alright, wait up. Let me pull up White House one.
Ladies and gentlemen, the President of the United States, Donald J. Trump.
Dude, this is a big speech. Holy. Here comes the king with this music. This is crazy. Stone Cold Steve Austin. Oh wait, why can't I hear it?
By
Oh.
far, I would say. And we're doing tremendous things. Our country is doing very well. You saw the numbers that got released today, yesterday. Deficits cut way, way, way back at levels that nobody's ever seen before, setting records. And the numbers coming into our country are unprecedented. And we're doing really well. We had a situation 3 days ago with Venezuela.
Oh, he's talking
And
about
we're
Venezuela.
getting along extremely well with the people of Venezuela, both the people and the people that are running Venezuela. I just want to thank our military. What they've done is incredible. That was considered unprecedented, to go into a military fort with thousands of soldiers and others, and to come in with 152 planes going every which
Is this
way.
the Maduro line?
And very rapid speeds and helicopters, and to come out with no deaths and the loss of no equipment. It was pretty amazing. Nobody's seen anything like it. I was called by the leaders of numerous countries. I won't go into which ones, but the biggest and the strongest.
biggest.
And they said that was very impressive. They were all impressed. But today I'm delighted to welcome almost 24 of the biggest and most respected oil and gas executives in the world to the White House. It's an honor to be with them. We have many others that were not able to get in. I said if we had a ballroom, we'd have over 1,000 people. Everybody wanted. I never knew your industry was that big. I never knew you had that many people in your industry. But here we are. And if you, in fact, if you look, come to think of it,
You can't be sure about anything, Dimitri, ever.
I got to look at this myself.
Is it snow he's talking about?
What a view. This is the door to the ballroom.
There's no ballroom strike.
Well, what did you have? Unusual time to look, but I figure we might as well do it. If the fake news would like to go back and take a look, you can. But
Oh,
you see
fake
a very
news.
big foundation that's moving. We're ahead of schedule in the ballroom and under budget. It's going to be, I don't think
Under
there'll be anything
budget.
like it in the world.
No,
actually.
this is
It
same
should be
speed as AP.
the best we went from. This is
I'm
just
using
in
White
our
House.
biggest room, which would seat 100 for dinner, maybe, if you're lucky, if you're nice and tight.
You're definitely not safe
And the
now. I'm
ballroom
surprised
will
how much
seat
it's
many,
gone down.
And it'll
I
also
would
take
never
care
buy
of the
Maduro, yes,
inauguration
though.
with bulletproof glass, drone-proof ceilings and everything. else,
Drone?
unfortunately, that today you need.
Wow.
So we're going
Drones
to
out of left
discuss how
field.
these great American companies can help rapidly rebuild Venezuela's dilapidated oil industry and bring millions of barrels of oil production to benefit the United States, the people of Venezuela, and the entire world. And yesterday, the number is 30 million barrels. I can't even, is that a correct number? 30 million barrels
30
hear that,
million
Peter?
barrels.
of oil was given to
Unbelievable.
us by Venezuela. That's a lot of oil. It's about $4 billion worth, and it's on its way to the United States.
How does
right
trillion not hit here?
now. And we want to thank Venezuela for that. And we're working very well with them, obviously, or they wouldn't have been so generous. But they respect us again. They didn't respect us at all before. So that's money that goes to the United States. Some will go to Venezuela, and some will go to the oil
This has to be
companies, but
trillion.
not that, because that's already been extracted.
Has to be trillion.
So when you're not getting any of that, but when you start extracting, you'll get.
Oh man, audio cutting out.
But it's tremendous reserves, among the biggest in the world. Some people say it is the biggest in the world. And we're going to be working with Venezuela.
what did
we're
we
going to
miss?
be making the decision as to which oil companies are going to go in, that we're going to allow to go in. Going to cut a deal with the companies. We'll probably do that today or very shortly thereafter with Chris and Doug. And we're dealing
Yeah.
with the country, so we're empowered to make that deal. And you'll have total safety, total security. One of the reasons you couldn't go in is you had no guarantees, you had no security, but now you have total security. It's a whole different Venezuela, and Venezuela is going to be very successful. And the people of the United States are going to be big beneficiaries because we're going to be extracting
Hottest has kind
you
of
know,
jumped up,
numbers
interestingly.
of, in terms of oil, like few people have ever seen, actually. So you're dealing with us directly. You're not dealing with Venezuela.
Wow.
We don't want you
Doesn't
to deal
say
with
trillions
Venezuela.
there.
Let me thank Vice President J.D. Vance, who's doing a
There's
fantastic
Vance.
job.
Oh,
Secretary
Rubio.
of State Marco Rubio, likewise a fantastic job. I have good people. I like them better than my first group. But we had a great, despite that, we had a great first term. We had some great people there too, by the way. But we had a great first term. We had the greatest economy in the history of our country in the first term, but this is blowing it away.
Oh man.
And you haven't seen anything yet. Everyone's been shocked by the numbers, 5.4% GDP. And that's despite the fact that we were
This
badly hurt by the Democrat shutdown, of which they'd like to see if they could shut it
Democrat.
down again. Secretary of the Interior Doug Burgum, who's fantastic. Secretary of Energy Chris Wright, recommended by Doug as being the greatest oil man anywhere in the world, because I wanted Doug for that job. Energy and
Curious
Doug
if
said,
people.
no, sir. There's a man named
Wow,
Chris
Energy
Wright. I
should have
said,
just been a
"Who the
Bond
hell
as soon
is
as this
Chris
was
Wright?"
live.
He said he's the most talented oil man.
I wonder
anywhere in the
how
world.
likely I
doubt
am
you
to
can
get filled
him,
on
'cause
Bonds.
Typically, oil
I
men
doubt it.
make a
I
lot
just
of
don't
money,
normally bond
and
Trump
women.
speeches.
They make a lot of money, but Chris came. You took one of the greatest salary cuts probably in history, Chris, right? But he's a fantastic person, loves our country, and many other important members of this team. And I want to thank them for their efforts. As you know, last week, the United States Armed Forces performed one of the most spectacular military operations
Probably going to
in
be
American
hottest.
history.
Or not hottest, I mean
Apprehending the
Maduro.
outlaw dictator Nicolas Maduro for his crimes against the
There it
United
is.
States, crimes for which he has now been indicted and is in federal court awaiting trial. And he killed many people, millions of people, actually, and allowed jails, prisons, mental institutions, insane asylums, drug dealers, drug addicts to pour into our country totally unchecked because of Sleepy Joe Biden's policy of open borders, the stupidest thing I've ever seen. We're getting them
Sleepy
all out.
Joe, mental institution.
The departure of Maduro makes it possible an incredible future for both nations, Venezuela and the United States, in which we will more closely integrate the economies
Well, it
of
took a
two
while,
major
but it had to
energy
hit.
powers in the Western Hemisphere. Energy coming out of Venezuela was very small. One of the things the United States gets out of this will be even lower energy prices. We have people now getting gasoline for $1.99, $1.96, $1.95, $1.92 yesterday, somebody. And it used to be $3.50, $4, $5 a gallon. Think of that, $1.99. Decades ago, the United States built Venezuela's oil industry at tremendous expense with American skill, technology, know-how, and dollars. But those assets were stolen from us, and we had presidents did nothing about it. This president is much different than your other presidents.
You were
They did
right,
nothing
Untilco.
about it. They stole it. Some of the people in this room were a little bit younger when that happened, but not that much younger. It wasn't that long ago. But they stole our assets like we
They
were babies.
stole our assets
And
like
the
we
United
were
States did
babies.
absolutely nothing about it. So now we're doing everything about it. Now we're doing 500% about it. But it's
500%.
a long time after the act took place. So they stole from us, and it was taken by socialists and communists at the time, and Venezuela was going bad, really bad.
Oh
And
man,
as much
somebody already
oil
got.
as they have, they're producing
Wow.
almost nothing, which is just a system.
That's so fast to
So
bond
we're
the weekly.
really,
Somebody
if
is
you
like
look at it, we're taking back what was taken from us. They took our
crazy.
oil industry. We built that entire oil industry. Started a long time ago.
Could
but
be
they took it,
hottest.
and they were very ungracious to this country, but now they're being very nice. American companies will have the opportunity to rebuild Venezuela's rotting energy infrastructure
See
and
if people
eventually
are
increase
still
oil
buying
production to
hottest,
levels
yes.
never ever seen before. When you add Venezuela and the United States together, we have 55% of the oil in the world. The United States is number one. We have them drilling. Drill,
Oh,
baby, drill. was
oh, there it
my
is.
Campaign.
I
and
knew that
Doug
was-
and
yeah.
Chris, I think we're setting records on drilling right now and taking oil
Records.
without Venezuela. That's how we're getting the oil prices down. The plan is for them to spend, meaning our
Is this you,
giant
Bip-Bop,
oil
getting these, by the
companies
way?
will be spending at least $100 billion of their money, not the government's money. They don't need government money. But they need government protection and need government security that when they spend all this money, it's going to be there so they get their money back and make a very nice return. The plan is for them to spend at least $100 billion to rebuild
Nice,
the
Bip-Bop.
capacity and the infrastructure necessary. Venezuela has also agreed that the United States will immediately begin refining and selling up to 50 million barrels of Venezuelan crude oil, which will continue indefinitely. We're all set to do it. We have the refining capacity. It was actually based very much on the
Is this going to be pipeline?
Venezuelan oil, which is a heavy oil, very good oil, great oil. It's fantastic for certain things like asphalt roads, best there is in the world for asphalt roads and other things. All of the companies here today are going to be treasured partners in bringing the nation of Venezuela back to life, restoring its economy, and generating great wealth for their companies and for their people, and also great wealth for the American people, and tremendous wealth for the companies that
He's
are
gotta
going
say
in.
trillion.
The companies that are going in, and if you don't want to go in, just let me know, because I got 25
Has
people
to
that
say
aren't
trillion.
here today that are willing to take your place. So I just want to thank, these are people that I either know or I know of by reading lots of business magazines and journals and papers. These are the greatest oil people anywhere in the world. Harold Hamm, I see, is here. Harold, you know, there's a story about Harold Hamm that he could look at a piece of land, put a straw into the land, and oil pours out. Is that true about you? Whereas some of you guys have to invest hundreds of millions of dollars to find that oil. So we can't let that story be true. But they say Harold puts a straw into the land, and oil comes gushing out.
Let's see. After he
so
talks,
you're not a big R&D
I think he's
person,
going
are
to
you, huh?
hand it off to other people.
He's called Instinct for Oil. Now, he's got other problems, but we won't talk about those problems. But he's been a great supporter of mine for a long time, haven't you, Harold? So congratulations. But we have, and I think Harold would agree, we have the greatest oil men and women anywhere in the
Oil
world
men
sitting in
and
this room
women.
right now. And we have a lot of people that will be back to see us sometime next week. We're going to have another meeting for another group. But we're going to do this very quickly. We can have this done almost immediately. So I'd like to thank you all for being here. I'd like to invite Vice President Vance to say a few words, followed by Secretaries Rubio, Burgum, and Wright. And then we'll have a few words from representatives that are here and to discuss their ideas, a couple of them. We have Chevron, which has been, where's Chevron? Where are you?
Where is
Oh, I
Chevron?
thought you'd have a better location. You were the only one that was there for all that. I used to call you and say, what the hell is going on with Venezuela? He stuck it out. I don't know if you made money or not, but you stuck it out. I got to give you a lot of credit for that. Mark Nelson, thank you very much. Exxon CEO Darren Woods. Darren, thank you very much. How's Exxon doing? Okay? They'll do a lot better now, won't they, huh?
Oil companies.
Exxon's been amazing. It's
Oil
been an
companies used to be
amazing
dead. Now they are
company.
the hottest
and
companies in the
ConocoPhillips
world.
CEO Ryan Lance, thank you very much. So you guys could say something, and then we'll take some questions from the press. And if anybody else would like to speak, we'll have you speak. We have all the time in the world. This is a big subject. This is massive wealth, and more importantly than massive
gonna
wealth,
be
it leads
press.
to lower taxes and a lot of jobs for Americans and for Venezuelans, but for Americans in this case. And I just, again, appreciate you all being here. And I'd like to ask JD to say a few words, please. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President, and thanks to everybody for being here. You know, as a Marine Corps veteran for my entire lifetime, presidents, and let's be honest, they were
See if we can
Democrats
get
and
some
Republicans,
cheap shares.
would send the American military to far-off places. They would get us involved in these endless quagmires. They would lose hundreds or thousands of American lives, and the American people would get nothing out of these misadventures. And now you have an American president who's empowered the American military to stop the flow of drugs into our country and to ensure that we, as opposed to our adversaries, control one of the great energy reserves that exist anywhere in the entire world. And he did it without losing a single American life in the process. It was an amazing operation. It's going to make our country richer. It's going to make our
used
country
to be
more
a
powerful.
dead
It's
country.
going to make our country safer, and it's going to lead to the decline, the further decline of drug overdose deaths in the United States of America. An amazing thing, and I'm happy to be here to talk about how we can make it an even bigger and better operation for the American people. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. Marco?
Thank you, Mr. President. And I think this is a reminder that everything this president does, everything President Trump does is with the American people in mind. It was not in the national interest or national security of the United States and of our people to have in our own hemisphere a country, not just with vast energy reserves, but controlled by an indicted narco-trafficker who flooded our country with illegal immigration, including drug gang members, openly cooperated with drug gangs, and by the way, stole the wealth of that country to fund a repressive regime and also benefit adversaries such as Iran. All of that is now changing. As part of this process, the first phase, of course, is the phase we're in now, which is the stabilization phase. We do not want to see destabilization in the country. We're working very cooperatively with the interim authorities there to provide a market for the sale of the wealth of Venezuela in such a way that benefits the people, both of the United States, but also the people of Venezuela. And as a reminder to everyone, the president announced this just 2 days ago. Every penny, everything they buy with the money that they're making from the oil now, Mr. President, will be bought from America. And that includes everything from equipment for the oil industry to food to medicine and everything in between. The second will be a phase of recovery, and then some of these phases will overlap, and that is to have a normal economy again where the money goes to the benefit of people.
All right, we got a ton of bids set up.
Our adversaries or the
See what happens.
of elements in that country
See if we get
and
any
around
fills.
the world that are against our interests. At the same time as a process of reconciliation has to happen.
I'll be ready to
internally
pull.
among the different sectors of society and politics and the like. And finally,
Look
the
at
third
these
phase,
bids.
which is the
We got
most
those
important
bids
of the
up.
three, is when the country
Look
fully
at that.
transitions into a normal country that we have
I'm
strong
not bidding
economic
Pete.
and diplomatic and relations with, that is friendly towards the United States.
Let's
that's
get
not
some
a foothold
fills.
for our adversaries, that serves our interests, but also the interests of the people. It'll be a country that is wealthy, a country that is prosperous for the people, not for a handful of criminals, but also a country that is supportive of our interests in the region. And throughout
Until
the
Co,
world.
it used to
And
be
we thank you,
dead.
Mr. President,
Now
for the team you've
it's the
assembled that has
hottest.
brought us to this point. A lot of work remains, important work, but this is historic.
Okay, thank you very much. Doug?
Trump seems pretty on point
Well,
today.
Mr. President,
Maybe
I
because he
wanna
hasn't been
thank
staying
you
up as
for
later
your
doing like crazy stuff.
leadership, not just as president, but as commander-in-chief. The boldness, the execution, the breathtakingly precise work that you've delivered both in Iran back in June and here has changed the field for the whole world. And you always ran about the idea of peace and prosperity. And in Venezuela, as you know, this
What do
was
you
a
guys think?
playground
Should
for
Doug
the
Burgum
bad
have been the
actor in
VP
world.
pick? It was between
We
him
had
and
Russians,
Vance towards the
Iran,
end.
terror groups, all of them profiting from this criminal organization that was pretending to run the country. That makes America safer. You've secured the border, we're stopping the flow of drugs, and now with the normalization of relationships on an economic basis, it's going to mean tremendously for the prosperity of the American people. So I just want to say again, congratulations to you and to the entire leadership team. It's been an amazing, historic week. On the
Vance
scale of
Rubio
things that we haven't
2028
seen,
ticket?
perhaps for 125 years. in
I would
terms of the
much
US,
rather have Rubio
exerting
top of the
its
ticket.
influence over Latin
I think
America
Rubio's
in a way that's gonna
pretty
make a
intelligent.
change for generations. And on behalf of all the oil executives that are here today, Chris and I want to say
Chad
thank you to
Newsom
all of
was
you.
sub 5 Vance.
It's your technology, your innovation that has put America in the place where today we are the most energy dominant country in the world, and that position is what's
He already
allowed us
said
to
drill,
take,
baby, drill.
the action that we're
Glover?
taking with statecraft, with military action. None of that would happen if we were dependent on everybody else for energy. So you're a big part of the reason that we're able to move the way we are today, and we're grateful that you're here to be part of the solution going forward.
Thank you, Doug, and you are doing a fantastic job, and we appreciate it. Everybody appreciates it. They know who's doing well. Chris Wright?
Thank you, Mr. President. Yeah, what we've seen in the last week is leadership matters and credibility matters. Venezuelan oil has been sanctioned for many years, and the oil just flew, those sanctions were not enforced. That oil just floated out to trafficked by bad actors of the world. The resources weren't gone to a central place. The corruption and decline of Venezuela has been a crisis for the people of Venezuela, and as Secretary Rubio said, massive spillover effects in the United States, in crime, in drugs, in kidnappings, and in taking a huge resource base and making it not exploited, not developed. The whole world is a poorer, less opportunity-rich place because of that. When you have materials underground, they've been underground for 1 million years. That does not make them a resource. That does not make them valuable for your country, your people, or the world. They only become a resource with technology, with capital, with rule of law, and a system of governance that encourages the harvesting of those resources to make the better world. And we see here the dramatic contrast between the United States, which may have less oil underground than Venezuela, We have 20 times the production
Burgum,
of Venezuela.
yeah,
20
Burgum
times
is
the
definitely
impact of human
intelligent.
betterment,
I
massively
wish he
better
would have been the
quality of
VP.
living here in the United States.
It was really
That
close.
at
I
risk
remember
under the last
that market.
administration. We've seen a
Burgum
lot
was
of
the
attacks
favorite
on
a
the
few days
energy
out,
that
and
makes
then
the world go
Vance
round.
flipped him.
President Trump's election has removed those risks.
Burgum
has
was
embraced
really high out as a
reality
favorite
about
for a
how the
while.
world is energized, and we are at record production of oil in the United States, record production in natural gas in the United States. We've seen a meaningful decline in gasoline prices, diesel prices, travel prices because of jet fuel. And now President Trump is taking the genius of a different way to try to solve a 25-year festering problem in
So this is going to go
Venezuela.
on long with
And
all these
the
people
traditional
talking.
things have
Imagine,
not
I'd
worked.
expect like 30
But
minutes of other
ordering
people
both a
talking.
tremendous military operation to remove the heads of a criminal organization masquerading as a government, and then to use the power of our military, not to fire bullets, but to stop the flow of Venezuelan oil to the world, immediately gave us leverage over the interim authorities in Venezuela and has allowed us to be in this position today where the actions of this government can massively improve Venezuela for the better, and the bigger impact is to massively improve the quality of life, affordability, safety, and security of the United States. Very proud to be here. And we'll turn it over to Mark Nelson, who's the vice chairman of Chevron.
I'm gonna grab a quick
Chevron
water.
has been in Venezuela for over
Hopefully I don't miss
100
anything. I don't think I will. I'll be right
years,
back.
continuously. Mike Wirth, the CEO, had a knee replacement recently. He's not here. Mark is a tremendous leader in our industry, and I'll turn it over to him.
Thank you, Secretary Wright. Again, I'll send Mike Wirth's regrets. He really wanted to be here, Mr. President.
all right. Great guy.
On his behalf, I have 3 very quick thank yous and an assurance I'd like to provide you all. The first thank you, Mr. President, is to you. It's thank you for convening this
Keystone
gathering.
Pipeline
It's
question?
Thank you for your leadership, and thank you for
Only after I fill
continuing
my
to
yes
keep
shares.
American energy domination in the forefront. So thank you.
I kind of
Thank you
agree,
for that.
Ivan. I think a lot of Minneapolis
The second
questions,
thank you
a lot of
actually
Tim
is
Walz,
to the
Minnesota
cabinet.
questions.
So Secretary Rubio, Secretary Burgum, Secretary Wright, your ability and commitment to continue to engage with the parties around the table to keep the world working is greatly appreciated. So thank you. Thank you for that. And the final thank
Man,
you
what
actually
is
would
Tucker
go
Carlson
to
doing
our
here
Venezuelan employees
at this
of
meeting?
Chevron.
It's
They
kind of
have been
funny.
working tirelessly to operate safely, protect the environment in country, and their dedication and skill will help us in this next chapter. And finally, I'll close with the assurance. For more than a century, Chevron has been a part of Venezuela's past. We are certainly committed to its present, and we very much look forward as a proud American company to help it build a better future. And so, Mr. President, thank you for your leadership.
And you really suffered there. You stuck it out. A lot of people left. A lot of big companies left. Many of the people sitting at this table left because of the
Getting some
safety risk
Greenland.
and other risks. But you stuck it out. I give you credit for that. Sometimes it was hard. I remember 6 months ago I told you to stay, just stay. Things are going to happen. You'll be very happy. I didn't know they were going to happen this fast or this conclusively. One thing I think everyone has to know is that if we didn't do this, China or Russia would have done it.
Oh, there's China.
And if China or Russia were a next-door neighbor, because essentially this is not around the other parts of the world so far away where you fly an airplane for 24 hours before you get there. This is sort of a next-door neighbor if you think about it. And I told China and I told Russia, we get along with you very well. We like you very much. We don't want you there. Not going to be there. And if we didn't do this, China would have been there and Russia would have been there. Maybe they both would have been
Now
there
Greenland's,
together,
like,
but they're not
jumping
gonna be there now. One thing I will tell them, and I will tell you, that we are open for business. China can buy all the oil they want from us there or in the United States. Russia can get all the oil they need from us, and they do like oil, even though they produce a lot of it. But China and Russia and everybody else is able to go, and we'll be open for business almost immediately. I have a feeling the $100 million will be spent $100 billion will be spent very, very rapidly by these very big, powerful, and rich companies, and I think they're going to be able to rebuild the infrastructure. And I hope it's going to be brand new as opposed to a rehab, because I know the tremendous difference between the new and the not so new in your industry. The new is much more beautiful, much better. In
How
every
high do I
way,
have to
and
go to get
actually
trillion
much smaller.
bid?
It's like everything else, gets smaller and stronger. It's a combination of smaller, better, and stronger. So I hope you're going to build all brand new stuff, rip out the old crap that's been there for so many years, and do it the right way. You're going to be there a long time. If we make a deal, you're going to be there a long time. If we don't make a deal, you won't be there at all. It's, sort of interesting. But again, China and Russia would have been there if we didn't do this. And the other thing, people ask about the second wave. I don't think it's going to be necessary. We have an armada, a giant armada like nobody's ever seen in that part of the world. And it's stationed off the coast. And we are getting along so well with the people that are involved in representing Venezuela that I don't think we're going to have any I don't think it's going to be necessary to do the second wave. We were planning on a second wave, but the first wave was so powerful and so good and so strong.
Why do I put limit orders in?
And frankly,
you don't pay fees, and
in the country,
if people
really,
start to dump
did the right
because
thing. They
other
were
people
smart.
talking
They did
goes
the right
long,
thing. They
I
didn't
could
want to
get
go through
cheaper
a
yes
second
shares.
wave, but
I think there's
got
going to be a Q&A. That's why I'm trying to,
tremendous
or
number
like a
of
decent
most
long Q&A. That's why I'm
powerful
trying to get
ships in the
cheaper yes
world
shares.
Right there. I don't think we're going to have to use that. I'm happy to say that. I don't think we're going to have to use that at all. If I could ask Chevron, you did a great job. I want to thank you. And ExxonMobil, if you would say a few words, and then followed by Conoco, great companies, massive companies, great companies.
Great
Exxon,
companies,
please.
massive companies,
Sure.
great
Thank you, Mr.
companies.
President. I appreciate the invitation and the opportunity, frankly, for the entire industry to show up and provide a perspective. Frankly, we've been kind of unresponsive to the press regarding Venezuela. I guess today's the opportunity to address the press directly with respect to a number of questions that have been asked of ExxonMobil. First and foremost, obviously, is the interest that we have in Venezuela. And I
Yes,
think,
human
the way I would
size. That is
position
exactly
I think one of
right.
the reasons why we see many of the industry players here.
You
is
can
we're
also
in the
see I'm
business
pretty
for a
neutral
product
on
that
any
has great
specific
demand and will
word.
be in demand for
You know what I
many,
mean?
Many, many decades to come. And as a depletion business, the biggest challenge we have is finding resources. There's an opportunity in Venezuela with all the resources there. Is we don't have that challenge of finding. We have the challenge of
Some may
developing
say the
those
hottest
resources. So I
companies
think
in the world until
it's
then.
it's in the best interest of these companies and, frankly, society as a whole for the industry to be interested in understanding what the opportunity here represents. I'll just share a philosophy that ExxonMobil has when we enter countries, because we do business all around the world in a number of different regimes. We take a very long-term perspective. The investments that we make span decades and decades, so we do not go into any opportunity with a short-term mindset. And there's a value proposition that we have to meet. It has to be a win-win-win proposition. Obviously, it has to be a win for the company and our shareholders and to generate a return for the investments that we make. It has to be a win for the government. The resources are an important source of revenue that help support the people of the places that we do business. And it has to be a win for the people. We have to be wanted there and to be a good neighbor. And those three things ensure a stable, long-term platform for the large investments that we make for the long term. With respect to Venezuela in particular, we have a very long history in Venezuela. In fact, we first got into Venezuela back in the 1940s. We've had our assets seized there twice. And so you can imagine to...
No, I didn't play the Trump Fox thing. That was too late. I was playing Ole Miss game.
Historically seen here.
Anytime there's a big sports game, I want to be trading that instead of mentions. And finding a lot of good angles in sports. It's kind of where I'm going to focus probably most in 2026. But we'll see.
Significant changes have to be made to those commercial frameworks, the legal system. There has to be durable investment protections, and there has to be a change to the hydrocarbon laws in the country. We're confident that with this administration and President Trump working hand in hand with the
I'm going to be
government,
playing
that
NFL
those
playoffs
changes
heavy.
Can be put in place.
I got to lock in for the
With
next few
respect to,
days.
the Venezuelan government, that perspective we don't have a view on. We haven't talked about
I did somewhat hedge, Ivan.
and obviously we have yet
If
to
Miami
assess the
won by
people's,
1 or 2 points, I would have been
perspective
okay.
with respect to ExxonMobil entering
But the fact that
country.
Ole Miss missed that
In
field
the
goal.
short term,
No, I
there are
don't
things that
only
can be
trade the
done.
money line.
All
There's
these
no edge if you're
longer
just trading the
term
money
issues are
line.
being worked. For us, we haven't been in the country for almost 20 years. We think it's absolutely critical in the short term that we get a technical team in place to assess the current state of the industry and the assets, to understand what would be involved to help the people of Venezuela get production back on the market. With the invitation of the Venezuelan government and with appropriate security guarantees, we are ready to put a team on the ground there. We also have a integrated set of capabilities from production to refining to trading, and I think we can be of assistance to getting the Venezuelan crude to market and realizing a market price to help, again, with the financial situation.
4 hours is a
in
long
Venezuela.
time to lock in on mentions.
So those are my short-term
Yeah.
perspective that I have. I'd say maybe close with a thank you, Mr. President, for the work that you've done to secure not only the national security, but the energy security of the region. And then thank you, Secretary Rubio, Secretary Wright, Secretary Burgum, for your leadership in this matter. Thank you.
How long would it take you, Darren, as Exxon to, if we make a deal, how long would it take you to get in there and get started?
Well, the first step.
I
is
will never
technical
do that
team.
until
We,
Co.
as
I
talked
don't
to
want to
Secretary
give those
Wright earlier
angles
this
away,
week,
to be honest.
We started from the beginning to put the team together so that if and when it was needed, we could hit the ground almost
So you laid the
immediately.
groundwork.
So we can hit the ground and within the next couple of weeks,
Unfortunately.
start the assessment.
great.
And then from there, we need to understand.
That's what we want. We want speed and quality. That's what we want. Thank you, Darren. And Conoco, Ryan?
Thank you, Mr. President. Appreciate the opportunity to be here too, and you've assembled a great team. And our congratulations as well for removing one of the terrible people in the world and bringing them to justice. It was quite amazing. I think you've given hope to the people of Venezuela again, which I think is quite remarkable. And we've been on the other end of that despot regime a long time. Our assets were expropriated. I had a little bit more hair when that happened. And you know, I think we're the largest non-sovereign credit holder in Venezuela today. So we're in a bit of a different situation, but I think your big and bold idea to use energy commerce instead of conflict is something that could make a real big difference in Venezuela. And we stand. Our
Imagine how
company
much money is in that room right
stands
now.
ready to help
The CEO of
in
almost
that
every oil
endeavor.
company.
Encourage you to continue to think bigger and even bolder. And we've had some discussions with your energy team about that as well, as we think about the other people that need to be in this room and in this discussion are the banks.
How many times has he said
including probably the
MBT?
Exim Bank, as we
What's
think about how
MBT?
the debt needs to be restructured and the financing to deliver the billions of dollars that are required to restore their energy infrastructure. And I think as we think that big and bold, we need to be also thinking about even restructuring the entire Venezuelan energy system, including PDVSA. And I think if we can do that and think
Million,
bold,
billion, trillion?
there's
Oh, a
opportunity to be quick,
ton.
fast, and restore the quality of what's happened in Venezuela, or what's been lost in Venezuela over the course
Yeah,
of
you got to find other streams,
Thank you
Milmer.
for this opportunity.
The
Well, thank
YouTube
you
stream
very
has a
much, and you'll
delay.
get a lot of your money back. We're going to start with
For
an
White
even
House.
plate, though. We're not going to.
Am I doing mentions for the Packers-Bears game? Maybe
their
I'll
fault.
watch
That was a
it.
different
I might play
president.
some of them.
You're gonna make a lot of money, but we're not going to go back. You left a lot of money behind, I guess, huh? What number?
12 billion.
How much?
12 billion?
Well, it's a good write-off.
It's already been written off.
It's been written. All right, thank you. You'll make it back one way or the other. You're all going to do very well. I think really very well. Marco just gave me a note. Go back to Chevron. They want to discuss something. Go ahead. I'm going back to Chevron, Marco. Thank you, Marco. Go ahead.
Was there a question, Mr. President?
Yes, go ahead, Marco. What are you saying here?
Mark, if
Oh, big
you
increase.
can update us on operations in the ground and with the appropriate approvals, what you might be able to achieve in the next 12 to 18 months, give us a little view from the ground.
You bet, you bet. So today Chevron has 3,000 employees in 4 different joint ventures in Venezuela today. And over the past 5 to 7 years,
Chevron's
they've
like
taken production
super well
from about
equipped for this.
40,000 barrels a day to 240,000 barrels a day, essentially getting those facilities and that equipment up to standards that would be something that people in the room would be more accustomed to. Given the work we've done with Secretary Wright and Secretary Burgum and even Secretary Bessent, I think we have a path forward here very shortly to be able to increase our liftings from those joint ventures 100%, essentially effective immediately. We are also able to increase our production within our own disciplined investment schemes by about 50% just in the next 18 to 24 months. And that's just leveraging what's on the ground. So to Secretary Rubio's comments about phase one, this is taking the momentum of improvements we've already made there locally and building on those and creating more momentum for the people of Venezuela.
Do you think you have an advantage being there? It's, you know, you've been there by the skin of your teeth. It's been tough for you to be there. But do you think you have an advantage over the other people in this room by the fact that you are there?
Yeah, I think there are, Mr. President, I think there would be days where it didn't feel like an advantage, and there are days where it does feel like an advantage. But having people on the ground today that care desperately about the people of Venezuela and know how to operate the assets.
Worst market, weather market, MOGS?
Would you say the best locations are available, or would you say the best locations are already sort of worked, even though they're in very bad shape? The best locations for finding oil, the best locations for oil.
There are more opportunities than not, Mr. President. With 300 billion barrels of reserves and resources in country, there are lots of opportunities for many companies.
Will you be building new, or will you be using the old infrastructure that you have?
Yeah, today it's a little bit of a mix, but today it's mostly us taking the equipment of today, getting it to the standards that we are accustomed to your comments about making it how it should be today. Most of the investments that we've been making are about getting it up to our standards.
Well, I think you're going to make an investment, but you're going to get your money back very quickly, and that's part of our thing. We're going to have you get your money back fast, and then you'll give a lot to Venezuela and to the United States after that. Okay, so you'll be in good shape. Could I ask Carol Tam to say a few
He has
words?
something
He's been
against Chevron or
a friend of
something.
mine
Did
for
you
a
guys
long
see
time.
that?
Very amazing man, actually, amazing energy person.
Well, thank you, Mr. President. It's good to be here with so many dignified people. And this effort particularly and out of that area. And the world dealt with him way too long. Certainly our industry knows that this is a real
Now
jewel
AP is faster for
that
me.
can be developed for the people of Venezuela and also benefit the world. And like Secretary Wright said, it has not been done. That's not been done in the past, and they had a good chance at it. Brought someone in that totally took it down, as everybody knows here, and that was Chavez, and we know what happened to him finally. But you know that ruined the industry in Venezuela, and all of us know how that ended very well, very very wrongly. So. Anyway, we're glad to see what's happened here and look forward for the opportunity for a lot of people in this room, but also for America
he really
and
is.
the country itself.
Are you going to be involved in
the Texas
going in?
oil
Because,
mine?
you know, he's
a
North
baron,
Dakota,
not a
and
man.
He's in Oklahoma and some incredible places. It's a little bit different.
Can
but
tell Trump likes
there's
this
no
guy.
doubt about you won't have to worry about the straw too much here. You can just go at it. Are you going to be one of the participants?
Well, certainly, you know, I'm an oil finder, like you said. You know, Barry Switzer, you know, told that story.
The coach.
And he's kind of exaggerated a little bit. It doesn't come out quite that easily usually. But anyway, great story. I love it. But I love Barry.
Barry's the one that told me this.
Yeah, he's a champion, you know, and in a lot of ways. So love that story.
Look, I think Trillions is
certainly,
hitting, Riley. I'm not disagreeing with you.
It excites me.
I don't see how it doesn't hit here.
You know, everybody
Just
has
trying to
that
see how
in their
low it
blood,
gets.
And
I have a nice
you
bid
know,
up.
It is a very
In case someone dumps.
exciting country and a lot of reserves. And so it's got its challenges, and the industry knows how to handle that. And
well, I'm getting some yes
like
shares.
Darren said, you know,
Axu.
you go into your eyes open and do the best you can with
So
the
we'll
team
take
you
it.
got. So
Well, you're going to
thank
have
you.
something that they never had really here is tremendous security. You're going to be very secure, very safe, physically safe in addition to financially safe. So it's good to see you, Harold. Thank you very much. Does anybody have anything to say before we get to the press?
What does Cuba have to do to avoid the same fate as Venezuela? What does Cuba have to do?
Well, Cuba's in bad shape. Cuba relied on Venezuela for oil and for money. And nobody really knows what's going to happen with Cuba. They're doing very poorly. They really third world all the way, and we have a lot of great Cuban Americans. And I would say Marco fits very solidly into that category. And I might ask you to say a few words about, we were discussing it before, Cuba is a very different, they don't have energy, they don't have oil, but they would live off of the
That's what I'm
oil
saying.
from Venezuela. And what they do have is very strong people and very powerful people militarily, and they would protect the people running Venezuela, and they would take in a lot of money from Venezuela. Now they don't have that. They won't be taking in any money. So, Marco, what do you think?
Well, I mean, the fundamental problem in Cuba is that it's run by incompetent people that don't know what an economy looks like, much less a functioning one. They've made a choice, and that is they would rather have political control over the people than they would to have an economy that functions. And they've gotten away with it for 60-something years because they've had donors, the Soviet Union, and now most recently Venezuela. But that's now gone.
I just got to be ready to pull if
Cuba have a choice to make.
there's
They
some
can either have a real
sudden
country with a real economy
change.
where their people can prosper, or they can continue with their failing dictatorship that's going to lead to systemic and societal collapse. That's a very stark and dramatic choice, and it's one we hope to make the right one. We don't have an interest in a destabilized Cuba, but that would be their fault because they refuse to allow the people of Cuba to have either economic or political freedom, for that matter.
And you have
Oh,
Holly, you
we
have
got
a lot
Somalia
of people
at
in
11
this country
cents.
that want to go back to Cuba
Yo.
and help Cuba. A lot of people have left, they came in penniless, they didn't have anything, and they've become very rich people in our country, and they want to very much go back and help Cuba. So that's something that Cuba has that a lot of other places don't have. Peter?
President Trump, thank you. I do want to ask you about
Wow.
Minnesota, but first, just more on topic.
How did I get
President
Somalia at
Zelensky
11
said that He
cents?
was watching with the rest of the world as you made this order to go and capture Nicolas Maduro. And he said, if that's how it works with dictators, then the United States knows what to do next. Sounds like he wants you to go and capture Vladimir Putin. Would you ever order a
Did you hear he's going to ask about Minnesota?
Well, I don't
Bullish
think it's going to be necessary.
on
I think we're gonna
Somali
have
right there.
I've always had a great relationship with him. I'm very disappointed. I settled 8 wars. I thought this
Oh,
would
there's
be in
8
the middle
war.
of the pack, or maybe one of the easier ones. And I don't know if you know, Peter, the last month they lost 31,000
Wow, I had a
people,
bid up
many
for
of
8
them Russian
wars.
soldiers, and the Russian economy
Dang.
is doing poorly. I think we're going to end up getting it settled.
Oh, that's so
I wish we
sad.
could have
I had
done
a
it
limit by.
quicker because a lot of people are dying, and mostly soldiers. They get hit in Kiev and they get hit a little bit here and there, and people are
Sad.
dying there too. But largely,
I know.
it's the soldier
Did you click those
population.
Bip-Bop? That
When
must
you
have been a lot.
30,000, 31,000 soldiers dying in a period of a month. 27,000 the month before, 26,000 the month before that. That's bad stuff. So, as you know, President Biden gave $350 billion to Ukraine to fight, and we would never get that back, although I did make a rare earth deal to get it back, so we will be getting it back, but shouldn't have done that. It was a bad
Rare
thing
earth
to do.
mention.
I will say that right now, because I was able to get NATO to up GDP from 2% to 5%, NATO's got a lot of money, and they're paying for everything. We're not losing any money.
this trillion?
We're making a lot of money, I guess, if you think of it, because we're selling them military equipment. They're probably giving it to Ukraine. But we're selling them to NATO military equipment. We're getting full price and all of that. But that's not
Yeah,
a big
Drake,
deal to
I
me.
have a
What
ton
is
of
a big
articles
deal
on
is
my
stopping
X
a war
that
where
explain
30,000 people are being
how
killed
to
every single
find
month.
edges.
On Minnesota, the vice president yesterday suggested that Renee Good, who was killed by this ICE officer, was part of a broad left-wing network. What has your team told you about this broad left-wing network? Who is in charge of it? Who's part of it? What's it called?
Well, I haven't seen the vice president's statement, but he's generally very accurate. I hate to say it. Look,
Why do you
I
hate to
watched
say it?
that yesterday, and there are a lot of different
That
forms
your vice
to it.
president's accurate.
But there was
It's a
a
weird
woman
comment.
screaming, "Shame, shame, shame, shame." She was a agitator, probably a paid agitator, but in my opinion, she was an agitator, a very high-level agitator, so professional. She wouldn't stop screaming. I said, "This isn't a normal situation. This is a professional troublemaker." Because you heard it and I had it. Now, I will say this. The news sort of turned her down, turned her off, because you're trying to watch. She was so loud and so crazy and just not normal. When somebody sees something like that, they don't go screaming and the same words. So I guess you could say professional, but I didn't think she did a very good job. You have agitators And we will always be protecting ICE, and we're always going to be protecting our Border Patrol and our law enforcement.
Oh, I didn't get caught there.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, in your conversations with these oil executives today,
Back
do
to
you
oil.
provide any security guarantees so that they can do their work safely in Venezuela? And separately, Mr. President,
Agitator.
They will have those guarantees, yes.
And separately, Mr. President, I'm curious in terms of the future of Venezuela. Do you see
Nice.
Venezuela
Got some
now
ice
led by
fills.
Delcy Rodriguez as an ally of the U.S.? Is that the way that you view that country
Well,
right
right now they seem to be an ally, and I think it'll continue to be an ally. And we don't want to have Russia there. We don't want to have China there. And by the way, we don't want Russia or China going to Greenland. Which if
Boom,
we don't
Greenland.
take Greenland, you're going to have Russia
Let's go.
or China as your next.
Oh,
door
I
neighbor.
still could have
That's not going
clicked
to happen.
the 99. Dang, people are slow. All right, we got Greenland. Let's go. This is why you get cheap yes shares.
Mr. President, thank you. You just said that these companies would have security guarantees if they go in on the ground. In
Look, we got that at
Venezuela.
28 cents.
And what
That's
is your plan
$2.50 right there.
actually
Let's
for
go.
These companies and those Americans who are going to be on the ground working for these companies.
Well, there are going to be Americans. I assume they're going to be using a lot of Americans, but they're going to be using a lot of people from Venezuela and other places, I would imagine. But I would think that mostly they'll be using Venezuelan workers. They have a lot of great workers. They have a very high unemployment rate, and they have workers that are very familiar with taking oil out of the ground. Yeah.
How long do you think the Ayatollah will be in power after what we've seen play out on the ground there?
This could
When
be
is
nuclear.
the U.S. going to get involved now that reports of protesters being killed on the ground?
So Iran's in big trouble. It looks to me that the people are taking over certain cities that nobody thought were really possible just a few weeks ago. We're watching the situation very carefully. I've made the statement very strongly that if they start killing people like they have in the past, we will get involved. We'll be hitting them very hard where it hurts. And that doesn't mean boots on the ground, but it means hitting them very,
This
very
has to be
hard where it
nuclear,
hurts.
right?
So we don't want that to happen. There have been cases like this where President Obama totally backed down. But this is something pretty incredible that's happening in Iran. It's an amazing thing to watch. They've done a bad job. They've treated their people very badly, and now they're being paid back. So let's see what happens. We're watching it. We're watching it very closely. Go ahead, please. Yes, go ahead.
Thank you so much, Mr. President. Do you have any comments in reaction to the recent attacks by the Syrian government alignment groups against U.S.-backed Kurdish forces in Aleppo, Syria, which killed dozens of civilians and displacing many families?
Somali.
Does your administration bring peace between the Kurds and the Syrian government?
I want to see peace. Yes, I do. The Kurds and the Syrian government, we get along with both. As
Didn't
you
you
know
say
very well.
Somalian or Syrian?
They have been
Why
natural
did I hear
enemies
Somalian?
over the years, but we get along both, and we want to see Syria succeed. And so far, I think they are succeeding, but this is just breaking
I must
out,
have
and we want to see
misheard.
that stopped.
Did I mishear? I must have.
You're meeting with the president of Colombia, Gustavo Petro, in a few weeks. Do you hope this meeting with Gustavo Petro marks
Okay,
a
I'm
new
going to
chapter,
pull my
a new
orders.
beginning in the benefit of the
Yes, you
U.S. and
said
Colombia
what country?
relations?
What country?
Colombia, with the president
Yeah.
of Colombia, Gustavo
Yes,
Petro.
I
You're
had
meeting.
a very good talk with him yesterday. And
Yeah,
you know, he's
it had
been
to be
very
Syrian.
hostile
Why did I hear
to
Somalian?
us and to the nation and to me, called me a dictator and lots of other things. Called Biden some terrible names, far worse than he called me.
Called
He
Biden
called
worse names than
yesterday through
Trump.
people, and he wants to meet, and that's fine with me. I've made up with people also, you know.
Is
So
this a
we're gonna have
cocaine
meeting
angle?
with him. We had a very good conversation. The people of Colombia are incredible people. Marco would know that better than anybody because he's married to a woman from Colombia. And I don't mean Columbia University. That would be, I'm not sure. I think I like Columbia, the country, better, if you want to know the truth. The people are, hold it. The people are great people. I look forward to meeting with them. We're going to meet in the very near future.
Would you meet the interim president of Venezuela here in the White House? Would you greet her to discuss the fate of the oil?
Yeah, well, I'm going to meet a lot of people, and we're going to meet. You know, we meet a lot of people. When
They
you
meet
end
a lot
8
of people.
wars, you get to know a lot of people, and I think it's very important. As an example, we have over $18 trillion. Think of that, $18 trillion coming into our country. A lot of that's coming in from foreign countries like Saudi Arabia and
Damn.
Qatar and UAE.
I tried to get cheap.
And
I was so.
get to meet a lot of people, but
I need to put a higher bid for Trillion. He's gonna
various
say Trillion every
representatives
time.
of Venezuela, probably pretty soon. We haven't set that up.
I got to raise my bids for
But the
Trillion.
relationship that we have with the people that are currently running Venezuela is very good. We also have a young lady that received the Nobel Peace Prize. She's going to come in and pay her regards to our country, really, to me, but I'm a representative of the country, nothing
You had
else.
no Trillion?
And
Wow,
she's coming
risky.
in sometime next week, I think Tuesday or Wednesday.
I'm hitting a bot on
And,
these
we'll see how
37-cent
that is. But
shares.
No, we're dealing with the people from Venezuela. We're dealing with them very well. I think they've been very smart in the way they've dealt with us, frankly, because that whole place could have been obliterated with one more strike, and we didn't want to do that.
Thank you so much. I have a question for you on Minneapolis, but on Venezuela.
Oh, nice.
and your
Another
meeting with
Minneapolis
Machado
question.
Next week. If she gives you her Nobel Peace Prize, will that change your view about her
She
running
might
that
give
country?
him.
Well, I have to speak to her. I mean, I'm going to have to speak to her. She
Oh,
might
my
be
God.
involved in some aspect of it. I will have to speak to her. I think it's very nice that she wants to come in, and that's what I understand the reason is, because Norway is very embarrassed by what took place. I mean, they're getting decimated. Look, whether people like
Norway's-
Trump or don't like Trump, I settled 8 wars, big ones, some going on for 36 years, 32 years, 31 years, 28 years, 25 years, some just getting ready to start, like India and Pakistan, where already 8 jets were shot out of the air, and I got it done in rapid
Is he gonna
order
say
without
9 wars?
nuclear weapons.
Nuclear. Dang, I didn't get any fills.
I can't think of anybody in history that
Shoot.
should get the Nobel Prize more than me, and I don't want to be bragging, but nobody else settled wars. Obama got the Nobel Prize. He had no idea why. He still has no idea. He walks around, he says, I got the Nobel
Could he
Prize.
say
Why
9
did he get
wars?
a Nobel Prize? He got it almost immediately upon attaining office.
I had
and he didn't do anything, and he was a bad president. So, I mean, you should get the Nobel Prize for every war you stopped. These were major wars. These were wars that
Is he going to say 9
nobody
wars?
thought
Come on, say 9 wars.
could be stopped. President Putin called me, and he said about 2 of the wars that he's been trying to stop them for 10 years. He wasn't able to do it. He couldn't believe it. So in theory, you should get the Nobel Prize for every war you stopped. Every one of them was major. But I don't care about that. What I care about is saving lives. I've saved tens of millions of lives. You know, the Prime Minister of Pakistan came here, and he made a very public statement. He said that President Trump saved minimum 10 million lives.
Minimum 10 million.
Having to do with Pakistan and India, and that was going to be raging. So, but I'm honored that she's coming here. I look forward to meeting her, yes. Go ahead.
On Minneapolis, Mr. President, I have a follow-up for you. The state officials there have said that the FBI is not sharing evidence with them. Typically, they would conduct a joint investigation, as you know. Do you believe that the FBI should be sharing evidence with state officials in Minnesota?
Well, normally I would, but they're crooked officials. I mean, Minneapolis
come on,
and
Somalians.
Minnesota,
Somalians.
what a beautiful place.
Say
but it's being
Somalians.
destroyed. It's got an
Somalian.
incompetent
Somalian.
governor, fool. I mean, he's a stupid person. And it looks like the number could be 19
This has to be
billion dollars
Somalian. This
stolen
has to be.
from a lot of people, but largely people from Somalia. They buy their vote. They vote in a group. They buy their vote.
474 at
And they
11
sell
cents.
more
That's
Mercedes-Benzes
10x on
in that area
Somalian.
than
What did
almost-
I
Can
tell you
imagine
guys about
come
getting
over
these
with no
GPS
money and then
shares?
shortly thereafter, you're driving a
Let's
Mercedes-Benz.
go.
The whole thing is ridiculous. So they're very corrupt
Boom.
people. It's a very
Let's
corrupt
go.
state. I feel that I won.
We're up to
Minnesota.
700.
I think I won it all 3 times.
He still hasn't said Tim Walz.
Nobody's won it since Richard
Bang,
Nixon won it many,
let's
many years
go.
ago. I won it all 3 times, in my opinion.
All we need
And
is
it's a corrupt
fentanyl,
state, a corrupt voting
cocaine,
state, and the
which
Republicans
could come
ought to get smart and
if he
demand
goes
on
about.
voter ID.
We could
They
get
ought to demand
fentanyl if somebody
maybe
asked him a
same-day
question on
voting and all
Maduro.
of the other things that you have to safe election. But I won Minnesota 3 times, and I didn't get credit for it. I did so well in that state every time. The people were crying every time after.
I
That's a
don't know if
crooked
they'll say
state.
Walz.
California is a crooked state. Many crooked states. We have a very, very dishonest voting system. The last time I won, 24, the one that just took place, I won because it was too big to rig. You couldn't rig it. It was too big.
Too big to
But
rig?
I won the state of Minnesota. It's a corrupt voting system with an
Did
incompetent
that already
governor.
strike in the weekly?
A very incompetent governor.
Wow, just incompetent governor.
President.
And by the way, he's a very corrupt governor, too. Go ahead.
I have a question on Iran,
Wow.
but first, very quickly on Venezuela. How
Dodge
do you
on
provide
walls.
total security guarantees to these companies without putting U.S. boots on the ground?
Well, we're going to work with the Venezuelan leaders and people, and we're going to have a very safe group, and they're going to also bring over some security with them. You know, these are not babies. These are people that drill oil in some pretty rough places. I could say a couple of those places make Venezuela look like a picnic. These people around the table, these are tough people. They go into areas that you wouldn't want to go. They go into areas that if they invited me, I'd say, no thanks, I'll see you back in Palm Beach. No, this is a tough group of people. They know how to do it. But we are, in addition to that, we'll have very good security for them. We're going to make sure there's very, very good security. And I think the people of Venezuela are going to give you very good security. You know, the people, now I'm not talking even leadership, the people of Venezuela are going wild over this. They named a street after President Trump. What do? You attack a country and they name a street? That's never happened before, although I heard that's also taking place in Iran. They named a street. The protesters. I just hope, just God bless them. I just hope the protesters in Iran are going to be safe, because it's a very dangerous place right now. And again, I tell the Iranian leaders, you better not start shooting, because we'll start shooting too. With your glasses, sir, go ahead, please. Hold it. Next to you. Yes, glasses. The gentleman with the glasses.
All right, thank you, Mr. President.
With those very big glasses, actually.
Yeah, Ferrari, actually.
Ferrari.
Mr. President, I have two questions. What do you want the European Union to do in Ukraine? The European leaders seem pretty divided on Ukraine. And then, if you can reiterate this straight message that you have to the Iranian leader, to Khomeini, the message that you have.
You're talking about Iran?
Iran, yeah.
What
the
do
first
I
one
want
is on
Iran
Europe.
to do?
I'm sorry?
Where are you from?
Italy.
Oh, nice place.
Yeah.
Okay.
The first question
So
is
what
on
are you
Europe.
asking about Iran for?
Well, if you can answer about Europe and what you think the Europeans should do.
He doesn't
on
say
Ukraine,
pipeline,
and then
doesn't it
a
settle
message.
for me? I bought
Well,
it
look,
30
Europe
cents.
has been
What do
doing
you
so
mean?
much for Ukraine, but
Wait, onion? He hadn't.
It hasn't been enough, and obviously that I would say that President Putin is not afraid of Europe. He's afraid of the United States of America, as led by me. There's no fear of Europe. You know, Europe's
What are
fallen
these
behind,
onion? What
and
does
Europe-
onion mean?
And JD said it very strongly. I don't know. It's he took a lot of heat, but I didn't give him any heat. Europe is a different place. Europe is changing. Europe has got to get its act together. I love Europe. I guess I came from Europe essentially. I have my roots are in Europe, but Europe is a different place. They have to get their act together. Now they've said they have a great NATO leader. and
Oh,
they've
he
gone
said
up to
European
5%
onion?
from 2%
That could be a
GDP.
good
That's
clip.
a big step. But they have to be very
gonna try to
careful with
find
their
it.
immigration policy, and they have to be very, because, I will just say, to be nice, that there are certain places in Europe that are
How did
very
I miss
important that are
that?
no longer recognizable. I'm being very nice. I'm being very diplomatic when I say that. They are not recognizable, and they have to be careful on energy, because they're putting windmills all over the place and losing a
Windmills.
fortune. They're destroying their country. They're just destroying the beautiful landscapes, the beautiful everything. They're doing. And by the way, in case you people don't
where are
know,
you
I'm
from?
not
Just
much
hit?
of a windmill person. I can proudly
wow.
say, Doug, that we have not approved one windmill since I've been in office, and we're going to keep it that way. My goal is to not let any windmill be built. They're losers. They lose money. They destroy your landscape. They kill your birds. They're all made in China. And all you have to do is, just about all of the windmills are made in China, the structures. All you have to do is say to China, how many windmill areas do you have in China? So far, they're not able to find any. They use coal,
Windmill
and they use
10
oil
plus.
and gas, and some nuclear, not much. But they don't have windmills. They make them and sell them to suckers like Europe and suckers like the United States before. They are the worst form of energy, the most expensive form of energy.
Why does this
and
guy
in
hate
8
windmills
years, they're
so
rotted
much?
out anyway. Go take a look at Palm Springs, California, and take a look at what that looks like. It looks like a junkyard.
Walls
A
already came
junkyard
up, but
of
he
steel.
dodged
So
it, John
we don't
John.
approve, and
He
I've
just
told
called
my
him
people,
governor.
we will not approve windmills. Maybe we get forced to do something
We will
because
not
some
approve
stupid person in the
windmills.
Biden
Windmills are
administration agreed to do
anti-American.
something years ago. We will
I'll
not
say
approve
it.
any windmills in this country.
questions. On Venezuela, is it ultimately more important to you to establish stability there or democracy there?
Well, you're talking about
That's
maybe
a
the
good
same
question.
thing. I mean, you're talking about stability or democracy? I don't know. To me, it's almost the same thing. We want stability, but we do want democracy. Ultimately, it'll be democracy. Peter?
I do have a policy question, President Trump, but I'm having a hard time seeing here. I see the American flag lapel pin. What is the other lapel pin on
Somebody gave me this. You know what that is? That's called a happy Trump.
Happy Trump.
And considering the fact that I'm never happy, I'm never satisfied, I will never be satisfied until we make America great again, but we're getting pretty close, I'll tell you what. This is called a happy Trump. Somebody gave it to me. I put
Happy
it on.
Trump.
Thank you, thank you. And,
Really?
The policy question.
Trump
How
golf
much
course has a
money
ton of
are you
windmills?
thinking of giving people in Greenland to get them on board with a possible U.S.
I'm not talking about money for Greenland yet. I might talk about that. But
Dang,
right
I should have
now,
gotten more
we are
Greenland. I
going
can't
to
believe
do
this got
something on
so cheap.
Greenland,
I got
whether
Greenland
they
at
like it or
28
not,
cents.
Because if we don't do it, Russia or China will take over Greenland, and we're not going to have Russia or China as a neighbor. Okay? I would like to make a deal. You know, the easy
Wow,
way,
that's
but if we
very
don't do it the
crazy
easy way,
rhetoric.
we're
We're not
going
going to
to
have Russia or China as a neighbor. I mean, it makes sense. It's just like that's the exact same
And by the way, I'm a fan of
rhetoric
Denmark,
Putin
too, I have to
uses
tell you. And
for invading
they've been very
Ukraine,
nice to
isn't
me.
it?
I'm a big fan, but you know the fact that they had a boat land there 500 years
Are
ago
we the
doesn't mean
baddies?
that they own the land. I'm sure we had lots of boats go there also, but we need that because if you take a look outside of Greenland right now, there are Russian destroyers, there are Chinese destroyers and bigger, there are Russian submarines all over the place. We're not going to have Russia or China occupy Greenland, and that's what they're going to do if we don't. So we're going to be doing something with Greenland, either the nice way or the more difficult way.
I would just play around with it, Shanks.
Please, go ahead, ma'am.
Honestly.
Mr. President,
Try to
why
get used
is
to
it so
it.
important to you to own it when you have a military presence there, which you could expand to affect the security?
Because when we own it, we defend it. You don't defend leases the same way. You have to own it. And, you know, with a nation, look at what happened with Obama, with that horrible deal they made with Iran. It was a short-term deal. It was like a 9-year deal. Countries can't make 9-year deals or even 100-year deals. Countries have to have ownership. And you defend ownership. You don't defend leases. And we'll have to defend Greenland. If we don't do it, China or Russia will. Not going to happen.
Seems
We are
like a
not
new
gonna
talking
have, and
point.
I like China. I like Russia. I love the people of China. I love the people
That
of
Russia
Russia.
and China will do it.
I get
Or am I
along
wrong?
very well with President Putin, but I'm very disappointed in him. I get along very well with President Xi. I'm going to go over to China in April, but I don't want them as a neighbor in Greenland. Not going to happen. And by the way, and NATO's got to understand that. I'm all for NATO. I saved NATO. If it weren't for me, you wouldn't have a NATO right now. But we're not going to allow Russia or China to occupy Greenland, and that's what's going to happen if we don't.
I mean, they have a lot of strikes now.
On the economic report that came out today, Mr. President, one, can you
Oh,
respond to
economic
that? And
report.
two,
This could
It
be
was
hottest.
An amazing report. The amazing
This could
and the
be
most
hottest.
amazing thing is government jobs are way down, and yet the unemployment or the employment numbers are very good. We've gotten rid of tremendous numbers of federal government jobs. Nobody's ever seen anything like it. And yet the employment numbers are very good. They're really getting better. But now we have all those people to work in the private sector for a lot more money. I think that's one of the very big things. The other thing is at 5.4%. And remember, this is after we had a shutdown. And that shutdown had an impact because the concept of the shutdown, even though it's before, people knew we were going to be shutting down. A lot of bad things happened.
People knew.
And by the way, on January 30th, you may have another shutdown. We'll see what happens.
Oh, gosh.
But,
Another
I think the
shutdown.
numbers, Caitlin, were really amazing.
Oh,
Look,
God.
To think about 5.4%, nobody thought that. They thought it was going to be 2%. And you know what it is? It's tariffs. And it's also
Oh, shit,
November 5th.
tariff
We had a
hit.
great election. A great election.
Wow.
Our country was dead.
Oh, hottest.
1.5
This is hottest.
years ago, and now we have the hottest country anywhere in the world. And I hope you guys were impressed.
Oh, I only got
5.4%.
600. I knew
And
this was
we
hottest.
haven't even really transitioned yet. There's no reason it can't be
Wow.
much higher than that.
Hottest freaking country. I should have bought it on the economic question.
First off, off, can you respond to the manufacturing
Let's
numbers?
give CNN a chance. You know, they've been
John,
fighting so
good
hard to
pickup
get back
on
into
Hottest.
the mainstream.
Mr. President, you posted some numbers actually on Truth Social last night. People saying you posted the job data early when you're not supposed to obviously share it till the next morning. Did you do that on purpose?
No, I don't know. If they posted them, I said post them whenever you get a chance. I don't know. They gave me some numbers.
Saying they posted the
when people
job
give me
numbers
things,
early.
I post them.
So
but
stupid.
the numbers are amazing. Yeah, please.
How does the administration plan to distribute the money from the Venezuela oil sales? Is it obviously you say it's going to go into these controlled accounts?
Yeah.
Would it go back to Venezuela in a
Yeah.
direct payment? Is it going through these goods? How do you plan to do that?
Well,
And
we
then I have
want
a
to make
second
sure
question.
that Venezuela can survive. You know, Venezuela
Made the
needs
Maduro no back
money,
nice.
and we're going to make sure that they get money, and we're going to get money, and the oil companies are going to make something for the work they do, and they're going to get back their money. We're devising a formula, but it won't be so much of a formula. It's going to be what they need. We're
Yeah,
going to take
never
care of what
fade
they need. There'll be
Hottest.
plenty left over. We're going to have a lot of money left over. And the money left over is going to the United States of America, and the oil companies are going to be very happy. Yeah, please.
Thank you, Mr.
My second question is, would the administration offer a backstop to these
Oh,
oil companies?
close to another Minnesota
for,
question.
Like financial
John
guarantees,
Jung, I
some
was
sort of
rooting for
backstop
you.
If the country did destabilize again.
That's a very interesting question. Using the word backstop, I haven't heard that word in a long time. That was at the Wharton School of Finance I last heard.
The
That's a good
Wharton
term.
School.
We ought to use it more often. I hope I don't have to give a backstop. I'm just, look, these are very smart people, the smartest people. They're not only in oil and business. These are the biggest companies in the world sitting around this table. They know the risks. I mean, there are risks. We're going to help them out. We're going to make it real easy. They're going to be
Pipeline
there for a
at
long
38?
time. We're going to be
I don't
there
know. Does he
together
say
for a
pipeline
long,
often?
long time. And they're going to be taking the oil, and they're going to be bringing oil prices down. They're going to make a lot of money.
Look,
They're
I
gonna get their
bonded a
money back.
little
They're
bit,
gonna
a
be
call.
safe.
Only a little
the people
bit.
of Venezuela are going to be
You
big
know?
beneficiaries, and the United States of America is going to be a big beneficiary for what we've done.
He seems like he's getting close,
And
by the
you
way.
know, one other thing I might say, it's also very big for national security because, again, just like Greenland, we can't have China or Russia occupy Greenland. We can't have China or Russia occupy
He's getting
Venezuela.
close.
And if we didn't do what we did, China or Russia would have been in Venezuela. I think I can. Where's Mr. Chevron? So let me ask you, they would have been there if we didn't do this. Do you agree with that?
I'm going to buy these no's
They
on
certainly have a lot
fentanyl.
of economic interest
Shouldn't have
in
been
country.
88.
There's absolutely no argument about that.
They were trying to be there. I mean, you know, we had a Russia, I guess sort of I call it a semi-Russian ship yesterday that we took over, and Russia
Holy cow.
decided not to
keep
defend
smacking
that
these.
ship against us. It's a big movement. The ship was loaded up with oil, and we took the oil, and it came out of that port.
Oh, shoot. This
But
might be fentanyl.
Russia would be there, or China
Oh,
would
no,
be there,
it's
and we
not gonna
want
be.
them to
Okay,
be there for a
oil
different
tanker.
reason. We want them. Do you people agree? In particular, China, they need a lot of oil. Russia doesn't need so much, but Russia was there anyway.
See if
But
they keep coming back
I
up
assume
at
you agree
15.
that China would like to be doing a lot of business there by buying oil, and I want to just tell President Xi and President Putin, but more so in this case President Xi, because they do need a lot of oil, and we are open for business in the United States, and we are open for business in Venezuela, right?
Pretty cool, man. I got to hold these fentanyl shares for
Go ahead,
free,
sure.
basically.
You know, I could take questions from these people all day long. You know, they're sitting here, and generally they're very rich, very powerful, but nobody gives a damn about them. It's a sad thing. You have all that money, all that power, and look at all these crazy questions. We could do this all day long, and they wouldn't be satisfied.
I have a question on today's meeting, Mr.
We'll
President.
take a few more, though.
question on today's
Okay,
meeting,
few
Mr.
more,
President.
few more.
Let me ask you
Few
more
more
importantly. Do you
questions.
have any questions from the biggest? Hold it. Do you have any questions for the biggest people on earth, the biggest business people, the biggest companies anywhere on earth? Do you have any questions for these people? No. Do you have a question for them?
Yes, but have
Go
you
ahead,
heard
go
from
ahead, ask
any of
them.
the companies in the room that they are committed to rebuilding the oil infrastructure in Venezuela? And for the executives in the room, what do you need from the administration in order to invest?
That's a good question. Do you want to go and answer that question?
Yeah,
He is having fun. He's in a good mood today.
I'll refer you back to the statements I made before. There are a number of legal and commercial frameworks that would have to be established to even understand what kind of returns that we'd get on the investments. So I think all the investments and the opportunity sets, I think everyone sitting around this table would have the opportunity and the know-how and the capability to make the investments. The questions will ultimately be, how durable are the protections from a financial standpoint? What do the returns look like? What are the commercial arrangements, the legal frameworks? All those things have to be put in place in order to make a decision to understand what your return would be over the next several decades that these $1 billion investments would be made on.
You know, could I do this? Because we have, again, the biggest people on the planet Earth around this table, biggest companies in the world. I'd like to just ask them to introduce themselves. We'll start from this end and go around to here.
They already introduced themselves, right?
If you have anything to quickly say, we can do that. But you want to just start right over here? These two guys, we'll leave them out because they're with us. Please.
Thank you, President Trump. John Addison at Vitol. We're here to ensure that you are going to be able to move all of this oil all around the world at the best price possible so that the influence that you have over the Venezuelans will ensure that you get what you want.
Thank you. Thank you. Good point.
Thank you, Mr. President. Brian Sheffield of Formentera. My grandfather, Hugh Sheffield, was president of ARCO, Venezuela.
Right.
Thank you for what you did.
Do you like what we're doing?
There's a lot of shale there, a lot of upside.
He would be very happy looking down. He'd be very proud of you right now, right?
Yes, sir.
Good. Thank you.
Mr. President, Luis Rodriguez. I'm probably the only Venezuelan American sitting on around this table. I want to personally thank you for the courage of your actions over the last couple of weeks. I think I speak, and I speak of Venezuela in general in saying there's optimism. You've brought optimism to the table, and if the conditions are met, the opportunity is absolutely immense.
He said trillion.
I agree with that. That's true. Thank you. Well said, too. It's immense. This is a tremendous opportunity. Thank you.
Richard Holton from Trafigura. We're working with your administration, Mr. President, to bring that Venezuelan oil to the United States. Our first vessel should load in the next week.
Great. Good job.
Except
Thank
most
you.
weekends I probably don't. But sometimes I stream on the weekends. If there's something breaking.
Most of us are here and thinking about the future is because we trust you initially to set this program up that will work and guarantee.
It's like some alarms going off near me outside.
And
yeah, I can see it bip up.
Huge investment that needs to
I
be
don't know what
done.
happened.
We've all agreed on that, and certainly we need time to see that through. So thank you for what you've done.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Mr. President, I'm Lane Riggs, CEO of Valero Energy, and we're one of those companies that refineries in the U.S. are uniquely configured to run Venezuelan oil, and we're more than happy as this opportunity expands for us to further invest in our refineries to produce more of it.
And you're very much set up for the heavy oil, right?
Yes, sir.
That's great. That's great. We're ready for it.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you for having us here.
Thank you.
And thank you for opening the door to a better Venezuela. We are a Spanish company, but we are fully committed to invest here in the States.
I don't know if he said
sanction. Over the last
sanction.
15 years, $21 billion in the American oil.
I sold
and
my
gas
fentanyl
industry.
shares,
In
Lars.
Pennsylvania, in the Gulf of America, in
I
Texas.
bought them originally, then I
and
sold them
in
back at
Alaska,
cost.
with the
Basically,
discovery
that's why I'm
of
like
Pikka
even.
That is going to have the first oil this quarter, and is going to change. It's going to reverse the declining history of that great state of Alaska. We are in Venezuela, Mr. President, with our partners of Eni. We produce the gas that guarantees the stability of a half of the grid power in Venezuela. So we are committed with this stability, and on top of that, we are on the ground. We have people, we have facilities, we have technical capabilities.
At 30 to
And I take
33?
your point,
Nice.
Mr.
I sold a
President.
little
We
bit.
are
I sold
ready
like
to invest
130 at
more
30 to
in
33.
Venezuela. Today, we are producing
But I couldn't sell all
45,000
my
barrels
shares.
a day gross of oil, and we are ready to multiply by 3 this figure in coming 2-3 years, investing hard in the country, following your
It's a long
recommendation, if you allow us, of course, and in the framework, commercial and legal framework that could
Lars,
allow
if you
this
sell
to
out
work.
of
So
your
thank you, Mr.
positions, it
President.
will
Thank you.
tell you
Great
your
job you've done.
profit.
Thank you.
But if
Mr.
you
President,
want to
thanks for
see,
having me.
you can
Matt
also
Sheehy.
just
I'm with
go
Tallgrass
here.
Energy.
We are
click
an
on the
infrastructure
word,
business, so
go to
whether
your
it's oil,
position,
gas, CO2,
then
we
it'll
move
show
that
you
around.
your
So most
profit
of my
under
customers
total
are sitting
return
around the
here.
table, and
You see?
happy to lend our expertise to what's going on in Venezuela to support the people. And obviously infrastructure is going to be critical
Good job.
to see it repaired. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. President, thank you. An honor to be here. Marianne Mannon, Marathon Petroleum. We are one of the largest U.S. refiners. On behalf of the men and women of Marathon Petroleum and of our industry, thank you and the administration for what you're doing for U.S. energy independence. We have the ability and the capability of our assets to process Venezuelan crude, and the people of Marathon Petroleum stand ready to do so.
Do we need more refineries in our country?
In the U.S.,
Oh,
probably not.
refineries. Is this an angle
It's amazing.
for
a lot
pipeline?
Of it was approved during my first term. We were getting you approvals that nobody could have gotten in Louisiana and other places, and they got built. Before that, it was a disaster. We didn't have the refineries. Now we do because of the first term. Please.
Darren Woods, ExxonMobil.
Okay, we'll go over here.
Thank you, Mr. President. Jeff Hildebrand, founder and chairman of Hillcorp Energy, one of the largest private energy companies in America.
Who's bigger, you or Harold?
We're close.
Huh?
We're close. Harold.
Shout out
Harold.
to Louisiana.
Absolutely, Mr. Ham.
I don't like
But
Louisiana
thank you
because
for
you
your,
guys stole my
great,
coach
tremendous
at
leadership
LSU.
in protecting the interests in the Western Hemisphere.
Wow, all
The
except one
message
word
that
bit
you have
pop are
sent to
yes.
China and
Crazy.
our enemies to stay out of our backyard is absolutely fantastic. So thank you.
Thank you very much.
And finally, Hillcorp is fully committed and ready to go to rebuilding the infrastructure in Venezuela.
You'll go there? You'll be going?
Yes.
Good. That's good. You'll be very happy.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. President. Jeff Miller, CEO Halliburton Company. We are the largest American oilfield services company. We're the second largest in the world. Been in business over 100 years. Started operations in Venezuela in 1938. Long time in Venezuela. I personally lived there for 4 years and raised my kids there. So quite familiar with Venezuela, and just couldn't express gratitude more so for the opportunity to return to Venezuela under the stability that I know that this team and your team are able to deliver. And so
When did you leave?
Huh?
When did you leave Venezuela?
As a company, we left under the sanctions in 2019. So we had intended to stay, and then when the sanctions went into place, we were required to leave. But very much interested in returning. Have 600 Venezuelans with Halliburton today, all around the world. Look forward to putting them back to work.
Great job. Great
Thank
job.
you.
You'll be back. Please.
Mr. President, I'm Alex Cranberg. My company, Aspect Energy, is one of the leading American international
Man, this is going
wildcatters.
long.
We've found significant fields in central
Are
and
you a
south.
wildcatter?
I'm a wildcatter.
That's pretty cool, I'll tell you. I would have been a wildcatter, too, if I was in. And you've been successfully wildcatting.
We've found significant fields
What is
in Central and
wildcatting?
South America, in the Middle East, and in Europe. We're a leading
That's
oil
great.
producer in Hungary.
Are you holding
But
those, Ivan?
probably the most pertinent example is what a wildcatter does is take on risk and try to reduce it, and then other people come in and put more capital in later, so we're kind of kickstarters in the oil industry. We went into Kurdistan very early on, back when
Right.
people told us it wasn't safe and we shouldn't do it. We found a big field there, and it ultimately has got to be developed along with one of my colleagues here to be one of the big leading fields in Kurdistan. We think that Venezuela has a
Toss
tremendous amount of
independent
opportunity.
drillers?
If you look
Interesting.
at the reinvestment required, the
All right, I'll
investment
watch
required,
Land
people
Man.
are talking about hundreds of billions of dollars. But if you put that in perspective, that's 1 million barrels a day for 15 years. It's $220 billion net cash flow.
Super risky. Once
So
that
what
hit,
we
make
really
gobs
need
of
to do
money
is
for
be
their
able to
investors.
kickstart production, and then
Yeah, I'll watch
reinvest
that
and have
movie.
the confidence to reinvest. And what you're doing,
I like the
by
actors
putting
in
the
that
United
movie.
States in control of the cash flow coming out of the country, it gives companies like ours the confidence to say we can kickstart this production and then reinvest and reinvest. In Hungary, we've invested $1 billion in changing the trajectory of Hungarian oil production. We were only able to do that not because we could write $1 billion check, we're a smaller company, but because we reinvest all the cash flow back into new production.
Good.
Mark
Good
Nelson,
job.
Mark Nelson with Chevron again.
Wow, this is going long.
Thank you.
Yellowstone's
Mr.
also about
President.
oil?
I'm Claudio Scalzi in ICO, Italy. We started working in Venezuela in 1980. We are a lot of oil, but now just the gas is flowing because it's not under sanction. And as my colleague from Repsol said, we cover more than about 50% of the electricity in the country. So that is essential to avoid any kind of problem, social problem. We own about 4 billion barrels of reserves, so a huge amount in the Orinoco Belt and in central Venezuela. We have now in the country 500 people, most Venezuelan, and we are ready to invest. Clearly, we are ready to invest. We thank you for the big efforts and the efficiency of your action, and we are here. And we are here to work together with the U.S. We are also a big investor in the U.S. So
I know that.
We thank you again, and we are there. And we are also ready to join with American companies in our assets to develop and go faster with good investors and good know-how from the U.S. company.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You've done a great job. Thank you very much.
Mr. President, Ross Perot, good to see you again. I'm chairman of Hillwood and HKN Energy. I've been in the energy business 45 years, and we have been working with your team quite a bit. We have been in Kurdistan now for 19 years, along with Alex, and built a very good business. But now with your team, we're looking in Syria, we're now in Libya, and so we are very excited to look at Venezuela with you and your group, and look forward to continuing to build this great industry.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Mr. President, thank you for having us here today. Wael Salwan from Shell. Of course, we have a huge presence here in the U.S., in the Gulf, as well as in Pennsylvania with a petrochemical facility, which I think we had the opportunity to host you at, as well as being one of the largest LNG off-takers of American LNG. We have been in Venezuela for a very long time. We actually drilled in 1914 the first well that discovered oil in Venezuela, and on the back of which the entire energy industry was established in Venezuela. When we left in the 1970s because of nationalization, we had 1 million barrels per day of production. But we have kept boots on the ground in Venezuela all this time, and we now have a few $1 billion worth of opportunities to invest in, subject to OFAC approval. So we are ready to go and looking forward to the investments in support of the Venezuelan people.
That's great. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. President. Ben Marshall, the America's CEO for Vitol. Alongside Trafigura, we're very thankful to have worked with the government and the Venezuelans to be able to bring the crude oil to market at a market price as quickly as we can to help stabilize the country. Thank you.
Thank you.
Man, they are going all the way around. You know, Trump could still ask questions after this. That's the crazy part.
Olivier Lepoche, CEO of SLB, or formerly known as Schlumberger, the largest global oilfield services. We have been in Venezuela since 1930, and we still operate.
Like,
we operate
fair value
on the
fentanyl
ground
cocaine,
in support of Chevron.
I think is at least 2
We have
cents.
ability to scale. We have 1,100
maybe 5
Venezuelans in the
cents.
company, 2,000 additional that are calling us to go back to country and to go back to work. We're able to mobilize in the last 18 months 2 rigs and deliver 50 wells with success. So
Man,
we're here. We have knowledge of the subsurface like nobody else has.
I gotta get ready for college football tonight.
$700 million of equipment value on the ground in Venezuela, ready to mobilize for all of our partners, customers. So we are ready to scale fast, and we really want to thank the administration, Secretary Wright, Secretary Bergen, for the effort they are supporting and giving us to be successful on behalf of the Venezuelan oil and gas industry. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Well, check this out. They say the very best for last. And I don't have that sexy accent like this guy next to me here. Mr. President, my name's Bill Armstrong of Armstrong Oil and Gas. I'm a private independent guy. And in real estate, you were a wildcatter. So wear that motto proudly. But like you, I was my own guy. I don't have shareholders. I don't have
another wildcatter here.
Drilling all over the place. In fact, I had the largest discovery in Alaska, biggest discovery in 50 years in our country. I now control 8 million acres adjacent to Venezuela, so I'm already heavily invested in the area. We share a 150-mile
Should I become an oil man?
border with
Sounds like a
Venezuela
fun,
in the countries of Aruba and
fun
Curacao,
gig.
and we are ready to go to Venezuela. It is in real estate terms. It is prime real estate, and it's kind of like West Palm about 50 years ago.
Yeah.
Very ripe.
Yep, I agree with you. Thank you. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Mamdani in
So,
30 minutes? Are you
I
serious?
think what we're going to do is
I don't know if I can do it.
speak without the press to these gentlemen, see what kind of a deal we can make. We're going to get them involved. I'm going to ask Doug and Chris and some of the people that we have from the business standpoint representing our country to start talking about the confines of a deal. I have an idea what I want, what I think we should have. We have to get them to invest, and then we have to get their money back as quickly as we can, and then we can divvy it all up between Venezuela, the United States, and them. I think it's simple. I think the formula is simple. We start with a brand new plate, and it's going to be a tremendous success. I think it's going to be probably like few other things could ever be. There's so much. Venezuela's been really taken advantage of by a lot of people because they drill very little. I mean, as much as you hear they drill very, very little, very small percentage. But now that'll change, and it'll change very rapidly because these are the biggest people, and it'll change very rapidly. So if you don't mind, I'll ask the press to leave, and we will see what kind of a deal we're going to make with these geniuses, and I think you're going to come out very good. Thank you all very much. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Shoot, I missed someone's nose. Oh wait, he's still here.
Mr. President, I'm going to keep going after you. If you would ask them to raise their hand if they would be going to Venezuela. If you want to ask them what it's next
Ah, I was ready for him to say a word during that last second. It was unbonded, then it went bonded again. This is News One Live channel. Okay, well, that was a successful Trump speech. You got pipeline no home? Good deal. We made about 800. I have like 7K tied up in shares that'll resolve at 98.99 or 99. Yeah, I am, Ivan. But nice, we just made like 800. Good Trump speech. Feels good after I lost 3K last night on freaking Ole Miss. We're clawing back. Went pretty solid with our strategy where we just waited till after the open and then we just accumulated cheap yes shares. It's probably my favorite strategy for Trump speeches like this because it'll get to the point where pre-Q&A it just drags on really long. Yeah, let's do it, Ivan. I'm down. But, great, successful Trump speech as always. There's no way I'm staying for Mamdani. I'm going to call it here. I got to learn Mamdani still, too. I don't know Mamdani well. But, going to be live trading the Indiana game pretty heavily tonight. Hopefully can make a few grand on that. That'd be great. Gosh, yesterday's Ole Miss game, man, I had so much money in EV. Oh, I don't want to think about it, man. I could have made so much money last night. There was a point I was up 10K unrealized on that game, but it would have been kind of hard to sell out. Maybe not 10K. Maybe not 10K. Because if you offset the futures loss, I only would have up like... anyways. Crazy day yesterday. Well, I won't be live for that game tonight. I'm probably just going to trade it. But thank y'all for tuning in. I'll have for those that only watch on YouTube, I'll have a video up on my YouTube too. New York City mayor, right? Yeah. You had 12K on over 39.5. That hit, right, Ivan? Towards the end. All right. Take care. Thanks for tuning in.